trying to get some copies made of one of the budgets. I pledge allegiance. And to the for liberty and justice for all. For the record, this is the Starke County Council meeting, September 16th, 2024. We are here present in quorum. We're going to move through this. There's a lot of business here. We're going to move through it as best as we can as written in your agenda. The first item that's up is the last meeting. We approved at our last meeting the budget adoption for the 2025 county budgets. The next thing we'll do is we'll talk about some taxing units that are separate. But we did approve that. All we need tonight is a vote for the adoption.
All right. So we can make a motion for the budgets that we adopted at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Which is county general, et cetera, other than the other government agencies.
Correct.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I've got a question.
A motion, a second, and there's discussion from Mr. Bennett. Go ahead.
So are we approving the budget minus the aviation board budget?
They're copying that for us now. That'll be the next section is where the aviation will.
So we're agreeing on
County budgets.
just that. Okay.
Yeah.
And do the school separations too.
And the school will be set, that part of the separate, yes. Was there any other discussion from the council? Would all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And is there any opposed? Okay, so what we're passing out now is the airport is here. This is their complete budget, because I assumed maybe you wanted to see what some of those itemized items were.
Thank you.
Now, I do want to just kind of go back to some initial discussion. I'll defer to you though, Todd, if you want to take it over, but I just want to throw out there. The council has made a request to be able to just learn more about the airport budget. I mean, I think each one of us had expressed, some of us had expressed that there were issues just trying to understand how the budget worked and the approval process, things like that. We had asked, and Todd corrected me, I think it was actually last year at budget time, we asked about a council person being more present,
It might have
if
been
not on their board,
last year.
or just understanding that better. And so, I'll defer to the council, let's say, team board. If you have discussion or questions for, the airport.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to really look at this.
Right, I would move to table this.
If we don't adopt it tonight, they won't have a budget for 2020.
Why didn't they have it in?
Well,
Not willing to vote on something I was.
Either.
that's what I was talking to Carl about was, you know, they submitted it via Form 4 on Gateway. And I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like you were assuming that the auditor would take that and
That's what
give
we
that
were,
to the
we were
council.
told that they would take it offline and everyone would have a copy. The last time,
First
they
time.
didn't have a copy, so that's why we assumed everyone would have a copy by.
The only,
by May.
the only thing we can do is we could adopt it and make everything completely discretionary. With the exception of maybe wages,
The big numbers on that thing
they'd have to come to
are
us.
the Fed numbers. We get Fed 90% on Fed. IDOT is 5% and it's a local of 5%.
Right.
So the big numbers are
Right, but we still have responsibility to adopt the whole budget, and we have control over the budget too. Even though it is federal money, and I think that's something that it's never been, I don't think that we've ever really known that. I've known it, but nobody
You asked.
listened to me.
So here's some discussion to interject into that. So the option is what we would do is we would adopt their budget the 21st. So the only alternative to that would be allowing them to have a special meeting for the approval, so that we could still adopt on October 21st, because we have to have that done the 21st then. Yeah.
A special meeting would be fine
Well-
and appropriate.
When's our next meeting?
The 21st.
Oh,
So we have to have another meeting before that to have the approval.
I turned my phone on, so I don't know.
So,
I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
With-
With having a special meeting if we
Me
have to,
neither.
I mean, at all. I mean, that way we
Rushing
we
it
have time to
through.
look at it, and then. If there's any questions, which I have some questions.
well, to give them some preparation time for the special meeting, do you want to
Yeah.
ask any of those now?
Well,
or-
I agree.
Actually email them to them.
Yeah.
Tonight. And then I'll get it to you, because I don't know if I have any questions or not.
Well, I have a question, and. I hate to ask questions or rumors, because what rumors are never good, but. Is there any relatives out there that are related to the manager? Like the
Yes.
assistant manager?
Yes.
So,
Those questions in more detail to email.
Yes,
I mean, that's a,
the things are changing as of January first. The manager is going to be retiring soon. Somewhere between January first and August of 2025.
the only reason I bring that up is the nepotism.
Okay, and her son who's working there, and he will be, being let go soon.
Because that's directly against our policies.
So we were not aware of that, otherwise we would have followed.
It's a state, I believe isn't it a state? It's a state code.
Okay, well,
It's been in effect for quite a while.
we can let him go tomorrow if that's what needs to happen then.
Well, we're not telling you how to do your employees, but. I'm just saying that I know it's a violation. And some other people, I think, were aware of it too, and they were advised that it was a viation.
And we have brought it to our attention, because we would have taken care of it.
Well, I just found out about it, and I wanted to ask you guys in person
Vote.
to know that it was true, so you knew it was wrong. I mean, that's all, because. We're trying to be transparent as we can, and stuff like this doesn't make it look like any of us are very transparent.
Where you want to be the same way, so.
So in fairness to the airport board, then the two options would be motion to approve, motion to table.
I'll move to table.
Have a motion to table. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Kay. I'll just ask one more time if there's any further discussion.
The only discussion I would have, just real quick. Do we want to email our questions to them so they have time to look at what we think?
I think
Is
that's
that
a
is that
good
okay,
idea.
Justin, if we do that?
Then people have
As
time
long
to.
as it's not a group email or
Yeah,
something.
That's fine. Yeah, just send them, we have a meeting tomorrow night.
oh, you do? I don't
We
know
have,
if I have my
regular
phone.
meetings on.
No.
But in fairness, I don't want you to think they're picking on the airport. It's just that there's a lot of heat on us about everything. So we have to be open and transparent about everything, because
We got no problem with that,
it's not good for any of us.
right?
And that's the only reason.
So I understand that we sell aviation fuel out there a lot cheaper than anybody else around us. Do you think that's shorting the taxpayers of Stark County, because what you do not make on the fuel would directly go against your budget, wouldn't it? So I can answer that question for you. Please.
So we do, but we make it up on volume like Walmart. They make it up on volume. So we sell a lot. Let me go back. When I first showed up in this county, we sold 10,000 gallons in a year. Well, if you only made $1 a gallon on 10,000 gallons, and that's all you sold, that we went to making 25 cents profit, and now we sell over 100,000 gallons.
I'd like to see those
And our,
figures.
our,
if you
our
could.
best year was 150,000 gallons we sold.
I'd like to
That's
see-
a
I'd
question
like to
I
see
have
those.
for
Yeah.
our
I
No
would.
problem.
Sit-in auditor.
Right here.
Thanks for helping.
The front sheets,
financial reports.
under low end, the other back sheets, the jet fuel,
So
we sell a lot of jet fuel for the air evac out there. They're probably one of our biggest customers for jet fuel. And on jet fuel, we're making, like I said on there, we're making 91 cents a gallon, we're making more than.
and yet
we're
our
keeping up
price
with everybody else.
is, yeah, our price is,
How is our prices reduced? $2 a gallon?
Huh?
Are our prices reduced by $2 a gallon?
no. Now, matter of fact, so you know, Rochester matches our 100 OLED. Rensselaer matches our 100 OLED. And on Jet A, those guys are less than us. on Jet A. We're in the middle on Jet A.
So we're not
No.
shorting the
We're
taxpayers.
making more money for the taxpayers
Very good.
than we went to what these other airports are doing.
You're-
We're not moving product.
Okay.
Are the
It'll be commended.
departments required to submit a monthly financial report to the council and the commissioners? I think the statute, it said any department that takes money in is supposed to be doing that.
I don't know as far as required, but I don't think we currently get one.
I think we should. All of the other departments that receive money have to submit one, and why not this department?
Is that a problem to you guys?
If everybody else, all the other departments by statute are to give us a report every month. Of their expenditures and their money they take in. So there's kind of a running balance. We can see if there's any improprieties or if something was spent wrong. And you guys have never done that, right? Because
No,
you
but
honestly, you never knew you ever had to. And some of us might have been a little bit unknowing that it should be done as well for the other departments. So,
yeah, and as soon as we found out, we took action and made sure that the reports were getting forwarded to us.
I don't know if that was something would be easy to do,
Yeah.
to do,
Yeah,
you
doesn't
know,
have-
since your
we can do that on a
financials,
monthly thing.
I mean, to be forwarded to the auditor. And then distributed to all of us.
And I just don't remember there's a date, like a deadline date that they're all supposed to submit.
Oh, like each month.
So they would probably need to be made aware of that, probably through email to maintain paper, right?
So the revenue comes into the county?
They
Well,
probably
it says
have
if they're taking money in, any
Yeah.
department taking money in is supposed to be doing financial report that gets sent to auditor and distributed to the commissioners.
But that profit is up for theirs to spend at their discretion. It's not returned to county general.
That's what, I wouldn't know that.
I guess that's my question. Profits from your fuel sales, are they returned to county general? Or are you free to spend them the way you wish to?
That goes for our, I mean,
Operation of the airport.
operation of the airport.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so I had a motion, a second. Is that enough on the discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 Is there any opposed?
Okay.
All in favor. So what, yeah, please get back with us about a special meeting before October 21st. Preferably, I think. Within the next 2 weeks, does everybody think they can go?
If it's after business hours.
Yeah.
4:30 meeting, I probably can't
I
swing.
mean,
it. Short notice.
between 5 and 10 business days, though, is enough for you to look everything over, is what I'm asking.
Oh. Probably.
Okay, so
And then
we'll
we should
reconvene
give
about that.
them,
Yeah, we just need an email to send the questions.
we should give them some days to look at it. So they have the right answer,
Right,
right?
so maybe closer to 10 days.
Could we do that, like 10 days, if we can give to them by 5 days, then give them 5 days to look at it.
I think just as long as we advertise it, right, and we vote on it as far as. And then we have the adoption after that. There's no time, this time amount in between the adoption and the approval.
Just 48 hours notice for meetings.
Okay,
What do you want prior to your thing? We have monthly data that shows each category.
I think what you gave us probably just on a monthly basis, whatever the monthly of that probably looks sufficient, right?
I don't know if that says monthly, that's a year.
No, this, right, but you can make that report and the report generator, you could probably have something that you use to track it monthly, right? Like some kind of,
Right.
Excel spreadsheet or
I
something.
mean,
Yeah, that would be it. Just so we satisfy the statute and everybody's on the same.
I think probably the auditor's office might have this stamp of approval on what it needs to have in it. She just disseminates it to us.
so Michael will review it too.
Yeah, you have your headlight looking.
So, okay, so we've approved the county budget. We're tabling the airport budget. The next one is resolution number 13, which is this solid waste management budget. And Todd said that he would answer questions if anybody has any questions about that. It's 299,267.
Yeah,
Or I'll entertain a motion if somebody wants to make a motion about it.
I won't make a motion since I sit on the board, even though I can't, think I'm not paid.
Repeat what you were saying.
Yes,
We
it's
were
the solid
in
waste.
The email.
The solid waste budget, 299,267. It's resolution number 13. And Todd was willing to answer any solid waste questions in lieu of the director who is not available, but he was aware of that.
And I will not vote on it either, since I'm a board member, even though I'm not paid, but.
And just so you guys know, I'm gonna pass this down for signatures at the stack at once, because there's so much here, I just don't want. So we have one that we're gonna sign.
I would recommend that we pass it, that's my recommendation.
I had a question.
Okay.
Is that budget for the entire county,
For the solid waste? Yes.
Yeah. including Coons Lake?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bruce, I think you used to be on the solid waste board. I don't know if you wanna make a motion.
I don't have a problem with making that motion. I'll move to accept that, but
Have a motion from Bruce. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Tony. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And is there any opposed?
I'll just abstain.
One abstention because he's on the board. Again, I'm gonna pass this down for signatures in a packet. I don't wanna lose it. Okay,
Oh, I do.
and I'll sign it last to make sure I hand it back to Sarah. Okay, and then what I have before me. Yeah. I want to make sure though, the reduction in the rainy day fund, we have to do that separate, I believe. Yeah. Is that North Judson's feeling on that too? That we have to do your rainy day reduction separate, as a separate motion? Okay, that's what I thought. So the first motion would be for, you've seen this, it's resolution number 21. It's the budget for North Judson School. 14,589,503. And the tax rate is 1.1146. And we did have a chance to ask questions of North Judson, and we got the information previously.
I'll move to approve their budget.
We have a motion from Bruce to approve the North Judson budget. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Cassie. Is there any further discussion on their budget? I'll ask all those in favor to please say aye.
Aye.
And is there any opposed or any abstentions? Motion passes with all in favor. The next thing was something that you're aware of. It's the appropriation for a reduction in their rainy day fund of 432,683. And I'll take one of those three motions if somebody would like to do that.
I'll make the motion that we approve the reduction in the rainy day fund for the North Judson San Pierre School.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the reduction in the rainy day fund for North Judson School. Is there a second from Kay? Is there any further discussion? I'll ask on that one then. All those in favor to please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Okay, so I'm gonna pass these down. Please sign your name and check aye, nay, or abstention.
Is there a extension line?
There is an abstention line on those, and then I'll take it back and I'll sign it last, Sarah, so don't let me go. I don't wanna lose it, so I'll make sure I get it back. Okay, the next thing that we have on the agenda, do you have anything else budget wise? I think that was everything that was there.
This is the whole budget, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's all ordinances later. So, the next one would be Stanley Bud. This was about your assistant, right? About creating the assistant that for the salary ordinance that the commissioners already approved you to have your assistant. Yes. Yeah, but that's later. I'm looking to see if you. Yes. So I'm gonna separate that one, okay? We don't usually have this much. Seem like overlapping paperwork, so. Here. That's just a copy of it.
Spelled my name wrong on this, by the way.
Yeah, because it's still an additional appropriation too, so. Want to hold on to this one again, though, because it's got multiple there. Because we've, the IT department. That annual salary that you have here, though, is to finish this year out,
That would, when my budget was for next year,
15,216.
but that's to finish this year.
Yeah, that's probably just for this year.
Yeah, but I think we have to approve that too. Finish the year out, because we have the signature spot, right?
Yes. Right, you're amending the salary ordinance, correct?
Well, that we have two things going on here that are together that are related, so I'm thinking,
What did we take away as assistant? Is that what we did? That contract.
It was removed in 2023 for the 24 year.
Just sign both things.
yeah, because we have a change in, she put these things together. We have a change in the, just so everybody knows, we have a change in the salary ordinance, just to review this. So we have a change in the salary ordinance, we have Mr. Luke Cook, which is your current, we're adding an employee for IT assistant that had been taken away before. So we have to approve the change in the salary ordinance that would reflect next year's budget, but there's also, he's working now, so he needs to have pay for this year, and that was the 15,200 for this year and other things. And then we also have the commissioner's assistant that is a change in the salary ordinance. And with the change in the salary ordinance, since we don't have any commissioners here, do you know if they're planning on extending that into next year also?
What is the commissioner's assistant?
Oh, is Donnie out? I'm sorry, I don't see.
There's Donnie phone.
Don, sorry, I didn't see you appear, and it's up in the middle there. Just for the edification of the council, the commissioner's first assistant, is that something that's gonna extend into next year also?
I believe it'll quit January 1st.
So
You're
then,
talking totally different than Stanley, right?
yeah, because it's just the paperwork got stacked here together, so I'm just kind of,
Yeah, that should end January 1st.
going into your two requests. And so
Is that how they're paying?
I-
Are they paying this assistant through the commissioners?
they're creating a position
So
to
it's-
finish it,
Yeah, so you're looking at IT assistant
right?
and then a commissioner's assistant.
But the commissioner's first assistant was being paid otherwise before. Now they want to, they don't have enough money to
Yeah,
finish
and
paying her
those
for the
are
rest of the
for
year.
Salary ordinance.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Commissioner's first assistant.
Kelly Graham.
I never, oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Okay. That's right.
So-
What it was called.
So there's a stack of paperwork here, so I'm just trying to help you guys separate it and help me separate it too. So what we've got is. And we've seen this, but we've got the assistant for IT paying him for the rest of the year. Also adding that person to the salary ordinance for next year. Okay, but then what you also have is. You have the first assistant to the commissioners. We just need to approve. And that amount of 39,000 and some change is closing the gap from salary from. Not, like, it's not gonna cost that to pay her at the end of the year. There's also some rearage that they owe also to the budget, if that makes sense. Because they only had so much. I don't know where they were paying before. That doesn't make sense?
I don't know, I'm not really following it at this point myself. I don't know if everybody else is clear.
We took away
Yeah,
his,
all mixed up.
we took away his assistant for last year. I think we took it away because of that contract that was entered into.
To try to save some money.
And the one we're still paying on,
No, it's done with now,
okay.
right? Yesterday, yeah, that monstrosity is over with. So, with that being said, when did his assistant start back up, or had he has started?
This is his third week.
So how are we paying it now without salary ordinance?
Well,
One of my other budgets I had.
this is just to finish, so he has enough.
My question is, I feel I might be remembering incorrectly, but the last time we talked about a new hire, we talked about the hiring freeze that was in effect, and this was only last fall. And I guess I was not aware that that had been lifted.
Yeah, I think the thing was is when we did that one, Cassie, and others can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe we planned on taking that away into perpetuity. It was to make funds available to pay the purple guys.
And that's why we did away with it.
There's always been an IT
Because of that
assistant,
contract.
so it's not really a new position.
$19,000 a year. $19,000 a month.
Who were the previous IT assistants, just because I wasn't on.
You were
You
at one time an assistant before you were the director, correct?
Oh, you never were?
Oh, I thought you were
Previous
too.
IT assistant was Stephen Dickey, before that was Stephanie.
Stephen, that's right.
That's right.
Before that, it was my wife,
That's what it was, your wife. That's what
and before that, I don't know, Richard or Mark. or
Richard.
Lee or-
Yeah.
So the hiring freeze was lifted or was not?
It's not a new position. It was a position that was just in limbo. I don't know what to say about the commissioner's assistant. If you're asking about both positions, when you ask that,
I guess I would be asking about any proposed new positions.
One
I
thing.
mean, we were
But
pretty
that was a
adamant
new one.
last fall about the hiring.
yeah,
freeze.
yeah, the commissioner's assistant is a new position. That's why I was asking if it was gonna exist next year.
The commissioners, it would be a commissioner's IT assistant?
No, just an assistant.
And have we been provided information regarding a job description or anything on this position?
Good question. So could I split this then? So, could we take care of Stanley then, at least for the IT assistant to finish this year as one motion? And then also the creation, maybe creation's a bad word, the reinstatement of the IT assistant position for 2025.
So a motion for 15,200 to
Yeah,
get complete the remainder of this year.
yeah, it's, 15,200. Yeah,
And a motion to reinstate the previous position that was taken away.
Yeah. for 2025 salary ordinance.
Now that you've explained it that way, because I know I'm looking at Prosecutor Baker, we gave her a really hard time at a budget talk about the position she had always had. And then finally found someone to hire, and then nobody believed that she had always had another deputy. So, since we're being consistent and it's just a reinstatement, then I can understand why.
And you did get the position.
Yeah, but after a lot of grief, I had to explain, I've been practiced here 20 years and she'd always had that assistant.
Last year with Purple Guys was a lot of grief.
Yeah, a lot of grief for us.
So I've got a question, and I think it's been kind of swept under the rug. There was a real boondoggle with an IT contract recently, is that not right? And it cost the county like $175,000.
That was the purple people, right?
Right.
So are they still
Their
sucking
contract,
life from us?
no, their contract ended,
So they're no longer sucking the lifeblood out of Starke County taxpayers.
right.
And that's why I made the motion to reinstate in June this year, so he can get his IT people and get going, because we no longer have their assistants. And we need to make sure our county is kept. up.
I just didn't want to span for both. We got,
Because it's a reinstatement of a prior position and we're out of that contract, I'll second Tony's motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second from Cassandra. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor,
Well,
please.
I do have one question. Is this position going to help us with email retrievals? Because there is that question that continues to float out there about.
This
deleting
position
it.
has been already in the 2 or 3 weeks since it started, has been a huge help in getting everything back going.
so this position has already been filled.
Yes,
So we're asking for the salary now, but it's already been filled.
3 weeks.
Out of his own budget. It's just now he knows.
Okay, I
Out of the
understand.
personnel budget.
Okay, I understand.
I have been under instruction from the commissioners to fill the position as of July 1st. It took a while to get applications to come in, and now that we finally had, realized there was no floor underneath us for paying.
So were you getting ready to say that he's already been working on the issue of the deleted email?
He's been covering other things, and past 2 days I've been working on that, able to have the time myself to do it.
Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Did you make that a dual motion?
Yeah, I made a motion for both, yeah.
Dual motion would suffice for that. Okay, thank you, Stan.
Thank you.
Okay, All right, let me just make sure I separate this. Okay. Problem is. The problem is these have been put on the same page. So. Both the changes, the first deputy for the commissioners and. The IT assistant are on the same actual physical vote page. So. Well, we didn't approve the second one yet, so I don't know if I should wait till the salary ordinance discussion.
I mean, if you don't approve the second one, you can, I mean, your motion still stands, so you just have to print out a separate sheet, you guys can sign it at that point, I mean, your
Do
vote
we
still
need to,
stands.
I was just looking at Teresa, do we need to print one out now? So, or can they just be signed on the same page? Cause I just don't know if they're allowed to be on the same page like this. Cause they're two separate positions.
Well, we all voted on it, it's on record.
Yeah,
Can
they're
we
putting
sign
out-
it anytime?
Well, then I'll,
Basically just printed the last.
yeah. So let's go back to that then, since they're together, and then we'll finish anything else with the salary ordinance then. The other position is, so just for the information, because somebody asked on the council, so the first deputy for the commissioners, was that already an existing position, or is that in addition to the salary ordinance?
As far as I'm aware, it's never been on the salary ordinance. Before.
Okay.
I would say that's why it expires at the end of the year, if I had to guess. That's why I think it expires.
Well, because it's not gonna continue next year, I'm just saying,
That's what I'm saying, I'm
I
saying,
think
that's what I'm
Cassandra
saying.
might have asked about creating a new position, correct, when I mentioned that. So I was just curious if maybe it was already there and it just never had gotten funded, you know, like it's possible, like some.
On the salary. Whenever they come.
Yeah, so how have they been paying her now? Was it the leftover from another employee maybe or something?
I would have to look in payroll, exactly what fund it's coming out of. Is that what you're?
Is that fund depleted? Is that why they're asking for money now? Yeah, well, I was gonna do that next. Donnie? If you can, hear me, can you tell us how you guys have been paying her up until now?
I can't tell you what line item, Dave, but Rachel was doing our one line item, and like I said, I don't have a clue which one. Mike Lean wanted to make a different line item. So, I mean, she's been working all along, but Mike Lean's wanting to change where we're paying her from. That's all I could tell you.
I would move to table this issue until we have additional information regarding line items and whether it's existing position or it would somehow be in violation of a hiring freeze.
So I do have a motion on the table. Is there a second to that
I'll
motion?
second that.
A second from Bruce, and I'll just ask one more time if there's any discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Is there any opposed? One abstention. And the rest in favor. Okay, so the thing is, there's not there's no abstention there, so, if I give this to you, Teresa, would you mind? And we'll just mark out on one page, you know, like what they are, but. Sorry, it would be,
I can change my vote today.
We can fix it.
It doesn't matter.
the problem is we voted aye though for the other one.
Okay, that's fine.
And it's just got, that's what I was worried about, was that what happens if it's a split decision? So, 6 copies, because actually I'm the one who voted for the tiebreaker.
Could we get a job description on that also?
Yeah, could we get a job description email to us?
If there is one.
Okay,
Let me,
there needs to be, if it's part of the salary ordinance,
Yeah.
everything does need to have a job
Even though it's
description.
going away.
Yeah, technically, yeah, so. All right, so I'm gonna hold that now and go. Gonna go back to additional appropriations. The next thing that we had on the list was, city court and the discussion of pauper council. Last time we met, Angie had given us a number of what it would take to make it to the end of the year with pauper council. We had also been in discussion, because I think you asked this, Cassandra, about the state pauper council. commission, maybe it is. We've spoken to them.
I don't believe.
They've
they
reached
asked
out.
that question.
Somebody did. And they just haven't got back to us. They said they were gonna do some studies on how to move forward with the county, with Stark County, but they hadn't really told us that.
I don't know if I saw that email. Last correspondence I had was with city court officials.
Okay, you know what that was about? County's pauper council, actually. I think it's more of the
That-
discussion.
I
Yeah.
don't remember that discussion.
So basically, going back to Angie and Judge. I believe you said though, that was just to close that gap for this year, that starting next year, the budget will be sufficient.
That's already been submitted, yeah. to
Yeah.
the City.
But right now, there's just not enough left. And so,
The change that the state made July 1st adjusted the way we can collect funds from people who are determined to be able to pay the bill of their own former council.
right,
That's effectively cutting all our funds.
thank you.
Cause how just, explain to us how that changed. I know you did once.
So prior to July 1st, we were charging the same pauper fee of people who were determined to be eligible to pay it. That money was coming in and going right back out to pay the pauper council.
Okay.
That's now changed. They are collecting, we are only allowed to collect $100, which is less than the fee that we were paying for the pauper council. And now $50 of that is going to the state. They're taking their cut now, which they never had done before. And the other $50 will go to the county. So we effectively do not have a pool anymore at all to draw from.
So that $50 is just going to the county in a general state, not.
I don't know where they're
Not towards the
directing it, but
public.
it's going to the county, yeah.
We need to figure out where that money's going, how we're getting that money from the state, so it does go back,
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, we're good.
you know, towards that.
But I can just
council.
cross out here. I mean, sorry, I
It's
made
the
this comment,
supplemental
so I'm sorry.
funds to our Odyssey system.
But that sounds like.
Cause it was just in and out for
Yeah,
city court, it was just in and out, and we collect it, turn around and pay it out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, we don't get any of it, and it goes split between the state and the county.
So in turn, what's gonna happen, it's gonna end up costing us relatively 2/3 of the amount, because we'll get the 1/3 of that back if it is 150. If the state's getting 50, we're getting 50, change it to 100, that leaves another 50. So that means we would have to come up with $100, because we already have 50. Yeah, all right, I understand that.
I'm
As long as
sorry,
they don't
we don't
have
have to sign
to-
anything for the extension, or I mean, for the
We don't have
table,
to sign.
just this one, this is for the IT director.
Okay. So. Is there, that started July 1st, you said, right?
Correct.
So,
I found out about it July 8th.
so I don't know when we would get a draw for something like that, if it'd be in November. How would that be lumped in with, did you remember how you got paid in the state, was it? You know, for that money, that $150 you used to get, well, no, that's right, when.
We didn't get anything from the state.
And before the state was completely, they were not even in it, the money went directly to you.
Yeah.
It was in and out.
So we need to figure out where that share of our money is going. Because that should be put in. That should be put in the line item, or it should be earmarked to go back to that proper council to offset the city court, because that's $50 we never got before.
I think it just goes back into county general, doesn't it?
They said.
I think we might have asked that before, I think, but I mean.
We should be able to back, I mean, they just don't send a check and say, here's $2 million, this is what it is.
That's
Hey,
not that-
hey, Todd,
Yeah.
Yes.
from us, it should be a line
Maybe
item
done on purpose.
coming over, so when we collect work costs,
Oh, I did not.
it gets divided between the city, state, and county.
Did I miss them?
You.
Okay.
So that,
Because I looked through, I was-
for the pauper, it should just be a line item, it'll be pauper fees that we've collected that will be sent to the county.
To the state or the county.
Ordinance is
Sorry?
009.
Oh, you're gonna send it to the. Okay, I thought
You don't have to recoup it, you don't have to recoup it.
I thought it was going to the state and they were sending it to us. That's what I thought. Okay.
No, actually, it
It
should.
was a total.
Okay,
In the month
well, that's.
check that I-
It should be, yeah.
That's easy then. Okay. Sure, you don't sign that. Was I making that more difficult than what it should have been?
Yeah, what do you have?
I just want to make sure I understood.
Alright. So. Just so there's not something discrepant here, you can call me back on this, let Michaeline know this. If I'm only voting for a tiebreaker, see Rachel told me before I had to vote. Okay, I'm handing this to you. I'm not breaking a tie, so I'm handing you that. And this, but I will return with a signature. I thought she told me I had to sign everything with an oath. But the last meeting, I was told by the council that I'm only voting for tiebreaker,
Yeah, you guys haven't adopted Robert's rules of order.
so then I would sign.
If you haven't adopted Robert's rules of order, I think that's the only thing that makes the break in time.
Okay, that's what I was
It's never
thinking.
been adopted by us, nobody knows. Right, I mean, nobody knows.
I've never heard of the council members that doesn't vote.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
It's Valparaiso laws, Valparaiso University Law School, that is their opinion, for one thing. The president.
Here's the thing, let's research it, because we've had such a long meeting. I'm just gonna hand them in for now, and then I'll come back and sign them if you want to. No problem, I'm happy to come in. Yeah, so the next thing I have is ordinance number 009-2024, and that was I don't think you guys have copy. I don't know if you have copies of that or not, but that's the ordinance that creates the fund to receive solar money, and we are gonna start receiving some solar money in 2024. You've it's already been approved by the commissioners. Although the heading says council, but it's been approved by the commissioners. It should say commissioners right here, but I'm not splitting hairs. But it's just for, affording us that ability to receive the money. Right now, we don't have an account for it, so this was asked to be drafted to be able to do that.
That's just to receive the money. is it?
Yeah.
We have to have it.
Well, I'd make a motion.
We have a motion to accept ordinance number 009, an ordinance establishing a fund for the expenditure of solar revenue for economic development. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second from Howard. Is there any discussion?
Maybe I will.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you've seen it before too. It was emailed to us.
Yeah. It's. Just, give it whatever number it's gonna be.
A fun number.
Yeah, it just gives them a fun number. Yeah, that's all it does. It's just a paperwork thing.
You said, I'm sorry, I didn't know if there was any further discussion. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Is there any opposed? I'm sorry, Cassie, did you have an aye or a nay or? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I said aye. All in favor? Okay. All right, let's pass around some more of what we had for our monthly paper. The sign both of it.
Yeah. So that's. Yeah.
We do with the city.
Okay, but they've already been.
Wait,
approved. Just I was wondering how we table September 3rd were already approved. Usually they're on white paper. September 3rd.
Oh, yeah, we didn't do anything with 34.
That's what I'm just saying.
Yeah, we did get off that track on that, sorry. Yeah, sorry. So, going back to city court, we had been given a number of what we were looking for. And is Angie still?
No, we thought we were done, but that's okay. You guys have moved on to talking about other stuff, sorry.
We did,
Yeah.
no, so we're sorry.
Well, I guess the thing was though, is that, this could wait for our October meeting though to get that number from. Or is it gonna affect you guys if you don't get approval for it tonight? The number, yeah.
Can't deny it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
So the appropriation that we requested previously, last time we were here.
Yeah.
Was the additional appropriation, was that not acted on?
Because of the change in the. We also.
I thought.
I thought we,
It was all done last meeting and
that's what I thought too.
I was surprised that you guys had on the agenda.
Well, it was because it was advertised, because I got a call out too, let's just see.
That's the approval.
Well, I thought it was already approved.
That's when we just accept August. That's what I'm saying, that everybody pays us. They got-
It's just not on here.
Starting right now, you're gonna need to straighten this.
Huh?
Starting right now, you're gonna need to straighten it.
What's here? Oh, the boss is here.
But you said next was a jury.
It's already sent me a message.
That's not here.
But you remember us approving it? Okay, so it was $6,000. Okay, it just, it threw me off because of that, because it was,
I thought we did.
yeah.
So there's no action necessary. Is that what you're thinking?
No more action.
So the next thing was
See you, Judge.
yeah, well, actually, they reached out to me and said it was advertised, and so I didn't know what other business we had, so. Okay, by mistake, right?
So we have approved the,
So the next thing we have is the rough draft of the county council manual of policy and procedure.
So. Can I talk since I wrote this document? There might have been a little plagiarism. So. This is a rough draft. We don't need to talk about it tonight because we don't need to be here for 200 hours to talk about this. So I would just like all the council members and our attorney to look at it and make some changes if something needs to be. And you can either probably send them to Michael Lane, and then Michael Lane can send them to me, and then I'll make the changes since I have the original document. If that's okay, and then we can look at it again. I mean,
Did you write
something-
that?
Yeah,
Oh, you did?
it's something that doesn't need to be acted on right now, because we've never had anything before. And really, I think it's really made known for maybe a new council person, or they don't know like all the acronyms in there. It shows all the boards that we appoint. The years, I just put the prior years because it could be updated. It talks about Robert Rules of Order. There's a few things in there that I know Kate pointed out that need to be probably expanded on. Okay, I think like misconduct.
Yeah.
With the business.
There's definitely.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was just something that we could all look at and. I don't know, I just thought it would be kind of a good document to help people, maybe understand some of the stuff we do. That's all. So we can, well, we're not supposed to do it. More importantly, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's even got a picture of our courthouse on it. So that's all I gotta say about that.
Okay, and we did adopt those budgets for county and solid waste orders, because they were with that staff, so. So the next thing that you should have in your stack is some information on additional appropriations for seated county general and MVH restricted funds.
Which we don't have. We got absolutely nothing. It's like,
You've got nothing on that one? Okay, I just had it in mind.
I just saw it
No.
right here.
I just had it. Yeah. Okay, and so basically those were seated, 5,000 from personnel or for personnel, for elected official training fund. That's where the 6,000 for the pauper council, was written in there too from seated. There had been 500,000 agreed for surf. I think that's working out pretty good. And then here, that was also the 18,300 for the IT contract. And then capital outlays, which in this case was 15,000 to Oregon Township. Which makes the total 544,300. I'll pass it down if you guys want to look at it first.
Yeah, I know. It's just to clean up the account and get everything.
and I got some of that information.
Updated, right?
Who seated? Yeah.
This is that sign from.
We're gonna go over. It's just to look at, I think initially.
Okay. But we also have to vote, yes. Just making sure I've got another thing, there's two signatures in one document, so. The other one, Todd, this is the one that cleans all those negative accounts up,
Yeah.
so we have that one
Yeah, that's
also.
right, that's the one.
Does everybody have copies of that? We're aware of it, but I'll pass this one around too, if people want to see it before we act on it. It's the negative funds
It was sent,
that we're cleaning up.
it was sent.
It was sent to us, but
but.
go ahead and pass it just in case you don't have it.
That's what we're referring to then is the, fourth, the communication we received from the new auditor that some accounts she discovered upon taking office, some accounts were in the negative.
Yes.
And so she had to move money around. Now, is that gonna, since she was able to cover it by moving money, is that something that is not gonna create a problem for us with the State Board of Accounts?
It'd probably make them happy. I would think, because we're not gonna end up with the negative accounts at the end of the year when they audit.
Because she
This
had
is what threw me
mentioned
off.
something about
009
not, she was gonna
is this,
reconcile it.
correct?
So I'm
Through a resolution.
trusting that she.
Yeah.
All right. Just making sure.
I thought that she stated in an email that that would. I thought that would resolve.
Sorry.
I think she did.
That is
yeah.
fine. Right, Justin, or?
Yeah, to answer your question, the State Board of Accounts actually gave us the directive to do it this way,
Okay.
because she,
Okay.
yeah, so that's their direction that we did that, so,
So then that's a good thing.
yes.
Correct. We're sliding it.
$53,896.
Stuff we could have long before.
Okay. So for tabling, like again, this is together, we're tabling. We're tabling one of those. The increase in personnel right now is not. It's not. So we already got approval for the 15,200. I think this. Yes. That's what I'm asking.
Right.
But the problem is, that doesn't even add up right, because that's 54,696, and she's got 53,896. Doesn't even add up right.
Is that the standard, or is that something?
No, it's separate, so we got a problem there too.
I make a motion that we approve resolution number 17. As submitted to us.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
I,
Is there any opposed? Switch together, right?
That might have been for the big board of accounts telling us how to fix it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, back to the salary ordinance for county general.
This one, right?
yes.
Once again, they're both on the same sheet. So we tabled the. Well, it's actually written down here wrong, 53,896. But it doesn't add up correctly, but we tabled the one position, which is 39,496. So I think it would be okay if I changed this to 15,200, correct? Does it need to be read?
It doesn't match your ordinance till you approve it.
And then Michael, you can come back to us, next meeting, or yes, a special meeting, I should say. Just initial this. Okay, so what I have on this appropriation. Is also the 250,478 for the MVH restricted fund to be able to spend that.
We do.
So 15,200 from county general. For the IT position. Like I said, they're on the same sheet, so please don't murder me for it. And then there's the 257,478 for MVH restricted.
What's that for?
Well, since we don't have anybody from the, well, we have Donnie. Donnie, there's approval for the MVH restricted fund.
Wasn't that a truck? Was that the trucks that were making? Wasn't that for the truck?
What was the amount of it, Dave?
Yeah, 257,478.
It's for a truck, right?
I believe, yes, I believe that's single axle, Todd.
Because they said they could use it out of the unrestricted fund.
Right.
So
Yes.
for the county
For the
highway.
county highway.
I think we have to forward on last time.
Actually, I think it was an air.
Right.
Yeah.
No, not a big truck. It was a single axle, a single axle dump truck.
Hey, Todd, I don't want to interrupt her. Was it the paver maybe?
That was the paper. Yeah.
That was two something.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was,
that was the paper.
yeah.
And we just got it not too long ago, so I bet that's the one. And like I say, without looking at it, I can't promise it, but that's what I believe it is.
That's what it was.
Yeah, because we told her to look at the used bucket truck and then we didn't approve anything for it.
That's
The
right.
truck-
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
And she said we,
They needed to check right away.
So they're on the second. Do you want to
Yeah.
make a motion for those?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the additional, I'll see additional appropriation resolution ordinance 15, for county general, 15,200. That goes to 1,000 general, and then 257,478 from 1173, which is the motor vehicle highway restricted fund for the funding of the paver that we bought, and we already approved. Or do we sign it?
Starting here.
Oh, awesome.
And then while you're signing that, I'm just gonna stay in order here so we don't get messed up. The minutes from 8:19 and 9:03 just need a signature because it's on beige paper. They're both on beige paper. Once again, I will send them down.
We're staying in order. I don't know that.
If it's on white paper, it means we need to vote on it. If they're on beige paper, they're ready for signature.
Didn't know.
Okay, so just in case that's off, I'm gonna send down August 19th because we would have approved that. Okay, it's September right now. I'm thinking maybe just the new auditor sent the wrong color.
Yeah, because I read all of these funds.
Yeah, just in case there is discrepancy. Would someone like to make a motion for the minutes from September 3rd for the special meeting? For approval.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion
I'll
from
second.
Cassie and a second from Kay. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? And once again, if you need me to sign just the whole stack, I'll come in and sign. Okay.
We didn't go over monthly financials. It's up higher.
There's no other question. No.
Yeah, do I have a report from monthly plan?
This is the report.
Oh.
Plus 600 pages because we hadn't been forwarded any prior to Michael forwarding these.
So is that for the whole year?
Yeah,
So
up
now-
until 2 weeks ago when she sent them. Needless to say, I haven't been able to go over
Really?
much.
Would you like to table that and present that to us next time?
Well, I'm not gonna be presenting anything, but we should table it until all of you guys. have-
Seeing that stack might be a good idea. Would you like to make that motion?
Sure, I'll move that that's tabled until our next meeting, so everyone can make more informed discussion.
I'll definitely second that.
Motion a second. All those in favor, aye.
All right.
Is there any opposed? Okay,
Bridge version and large print.
so actually.
I see that. That all appears to me. Right.
Yeah.
It's laying in bed.
How far back
Yeah,
is that?
yeah.
To the first of the year. If you guys don't like, because you're not far from my office, if you want to.
Okay.
So you don't have to print out 600 pages. Anybody feel free. You're in the neighborhood.
Could you give me the cliff notes?
That's a little back out, but.
In the interim, though,
We voted on seated. They handed it back to me. That's fine. We voted on that.
No, we
What's this about my next ongoing?
I know you mentioned that.
And then we didn't send this one down, but
This one's the other, right?
okay, funds can't, we're down to it. Okay. Now. The ordinance for establishing a fund for sole revenue expenditures is ordinance 009. So just draw an arrow to that or cross it out or something like that. So that brings us down to the last item. I'm gonna give you that back. That's not my stack. So we're at the preliminary resolution for the establishment of an economic revitalization area.
Well, there's actually three of them.
There's the EDA, right? And then, right? And then there's two separate ERAs.
Correct, and I can kind of walk you through that if you'd like.
Sure.
So happy to be with you this evening. Good evening. My name is Nick Barbconnect. I'm Vice President of Hoosier Solar. We're excited to be with you, the whole team today. I grew up in Michigan City and my family has a deep history in Starke County. And we're proud to invest in this community. My grandmother worked at the 5-star in downtown Knox for 40 years at Courtesy Booth. And if you had a check cash there over 40 years, chances are she did it for you. I've spent my career in federal, state, local government, and from White House to Fort County, working on economic development projects. And the hardest part of economic development is identifying the resources we can use to create a better place for our community. When unemployment rate's low and the workforce available for new jobs is low, that would support other economic development initiatives. It's exciting to be able to build a project that will bring at least $1 million a year in additional local tax revenue to be invested in county infrastructure as y'all wish, as you choose. With me are my colleagues today, Larry Wickert, who is our senior advisor and a longtime Starke County leader, Mary Perrin, our community relations specialist, similarly serving in Starke County for a while. Marty Lucas, our local counsel, who has deep experience helping Starke County leaders navigate tough issues. Andy Metzel, our legal counsel from Taft, who's a deeply experienced land use attorney. And Aaron Steele and Chelsea Woodfin, who are developers leading these projects. Hoosier Solar began 5 years ago in Starke County with introductions to county leaders and a goal of 600 megawatts of utility scale solar across Starke County. We're currently going through permitting of 410 megawatts of utility scale solar, or 210 northeast of Knox outside of the city limits, and another 200 east of Bass Lake. Through relationship building and diligence with the community and neighbors and participating landowners, we've put together 16 participating landowners and 15 participating neighbors to our project who are involved in the project across 100 acres in Starke County. If you're a supporter of Hoosier Solar, if you could raise your hand for me in the room here today. Anyone who's supported the project, thank you so much. Our project costs over $600 million to construct. We've invested over $10 million to develop to this point across Starke County. When completed, it'll contribute that at least $1 million a year to the county in additional tax revenue. But let's piece those numbers together quickly, because that's the job of the council, right? We ran an in-plan economic impact analysis, which is common economic modeling software of our project investment. And it shows that Hoosier Solar projects bring over $773 million of economic impact to the community through our $600 million of capital investment. For perspective on the size of the impact of investments, the GDP, the total gross domestic product, or everything Starke County made in 2022 was only $640 million. Though it'll take a lot of local labor to build this project over 18 months, we're forecasting 10 permanent jobs across both projects, average salaries of $75,000. Although we have additional leases signed, we will only be permitting this 410 megawatts in Starke County. And while we're presenting today is only about our project, we can't answer questions about other projects for which we're not responsible, obviously. But I can tell you, we don't plan additional projects in Starke County. And our projects do not include battery storage. And I want to repeat that, because your solar projects do not include battery storage. You don't have to take my word for it. The interconnection regulators, MISO, PJM, require that if you were to install a battery storage project, you would need a queue position, a ticket to wait in the queue to be able to plug in a battery storage. We don't have such a position, and if you go look it up, you won't find Hoosier Solar has a battery storage queue position. As you know, today's meeting is only for the initial hearing of these economic development agreements and the economic revitalization area designated projects. And these documents all mirror closely the EDA provided for Doral Mammoth project. For comparison, while Doral is building a large project across both Pulaski and Starke counties, we're building the same amount in Starke County. Doral built 400 megawatts, and we have 410 megawatts before you. We've invested deeply in the community from our work with Purdue on the study agrivoltaics, co-location of agriculture within and surrounding our solar farms. But you also may have read about in the paper our work to reconstruct the swine barn at 4-H fairgrounds, $58,000 to provide permanent support to the agricultural community. In addition, as you may have also read about, we established a permanent Hoosier Solar Fund at the Community Foundation of $105,000 that provides in perpetuity annual scholarships and donations with the interest earned from the fund at the direction of the Community Foundation Board to serve the community's greatest needs. We've supported countless fairs, festivals, parades, and community events, and we've now reached out to every single neighbor to our project, offering every neighboring residence to our project the chance to participate with a good neighbor agreement. 15 of those neighbors have signed up so far, and more are coming in every day. In August, we held a widely advertised open house at our office in downtown Knox, and our first open house last July at the Hamlet Fire Station. In your exhibits, you can see the annual minimum regular payment amount spelled out correctly. So taken together, on our 410 megawatts across Starke County, across both projects, Starke County is expected to receive $100,000 a year until we begin selling into the grid, $1,025,000 a year in the year we begin selling into the grid. That number will grow at 5% every 3 years on a 20-year schedule, so that at year 20, Starke County will receive at a minimum $1,373,598. The end of the agreement, the county will receive tax payments normally as dictated by the state for the remainder of the project's useful life. As you know, today's meeting is only for the initial introduction of these agreements. The October meetings are in the hearings of this council, because this cannot pass in one meeting, will be for the confirmatory consideration of these documents and cannot be approved until that October meeting. We've been working with the council and the commissioners on these specific documents for over a month and discussing the abatement with the entire council since February. The documents before you today are not new, they're simply 4 documents. Preliminary resolution for establishing an economic revitalization area for our Starke Central project. The preliminary resolution establishing an economic revitalization area for the North Bend project. Economic development agreement between Starke County and Starke Central project, and the economic development agreement between Starke County and North Bend Solar project that the commissioners favorably recommended this at their meeting this morning. The agreements front load that $50,000 a year in good faith payments per project during construction. And once our projects are selling into the grid, the rate that we are paying is $2,500 per megawatt of nameplate capacity that our facility is rated at by independent certification, regardless of whether it produces that amount of electricity month to month. In addition, it has that 5% escalation every 3 years. But those terms, as you guys know better than I do, match the terms of the Doral agreement this board already approved. As you know, the Indiana Department of Local Government Finance sets the assessed value of solar land in Starke County, which currently sits at $13,000 per acre and is not abated by these agreements and will be paid by Hoosier Solar, not the individual participating landowners we are leasing from, on top of economic development payments before you today. As you also know, the Plan Commission, the Drainage Board's existing ordinance of solar ordinance of 2022 already govern other approvals outside of the economic development resolutions before you today. But today's meeting is the reason I'm doing all this work, and I hope it's the reason a lot of us in this room are doing all this work. And the question is whether the county wants to take control of the increased tax revenue through economic development payments. We won't be increasing the use of normal infrastructure like schools through our project. So if the county wants to direct the money to roads and bridges or even tax reduction, that's what this enables through an economic development agreement. And wouldn't give a normal tax collection wouldn't give the council the ability to do that with an investment of this size. But before we get to your questions, I'd like to quickly recognize Larry Wickert to come join me up here to talk about economic impact to Starke County from his deep experience as a leader in Starke County.
Good evening, folks. I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk a little bit about what I see is the benefit, the financial benefit of this project to the county. And to start off with, I was in the Economic Development Office for 3 years, and these folks started to come to us. And the thing that intrigued me was the size of the investment that they make. That really increases our taxable base, the assessed valuation. And we don't get a lot of jobs from these, but we get a big investment. Those are the two things you look for in economic development. So it's a huge investment. And as Nick had talked about, there'd be $1 million or more a year for 20 years. So that's over $20 million that would come to the county over that period. And that money can be used for any number of things, but I wanted to run through a short list of things that I think about just to give you something to think about. The taxing units don't get revenue from this, but if there's a taxing unit, whether it's, county offices or townships with their fire departments that could use some money, they could get revenue from this through you guys and the commissioners, I believe, make those decisions. The Economic Development Office could make land shovel ready to attract. I was in there for 3 years. To attract businesses, you need to have a place for somebody to move right in, and they could do things like that. There could be workforce training. There could be money given to the schools. I'm sure you can't give it to the athletic departments, but anything that would enhance the education of the kids can be considered economic development. Recreation, like access water to rivers and lakes better than what we have now, or trails or parks, in various parts of the county. Entertainment, one thing I would think about is the fairgrounds up there. You could partner with the fair board and help them do things to attract entertainment throughout the year. The hospital is another place that we could do something there. One thing about the hospital, there's things that people want to do in the past and we didn't have the money, so they didn't even think about it. Well, when you have this kind of revenue come in, you can think about those things, whether it's a hospital or someplace else where you need a little money, or to put money towards a hotel. There's been an effort to attract a hotel. Those kind of things. The thing I want to reiterate is you don't get any revenue from the taxes if all of this goes through. If Hoosier Solar just pays the taxes and there's no economic development agreement, we have the state of Indiana has a frozen levy. And they did that back in the 70s. I became a commissioner in 1981. And it was like, oh man, all of a sudden everybody was concerned there's a frozen levy. At that time, Starke County had a very low budget numbers. They kept their taxes low, kept their spending low. Well, they got frozen in. We got frozen in at that low level. Marshall County, the governor then that put this in was Otis Bowen. He was from Bremen in Marshall County. He got it, he got those folks and bumped theirs up right before this comes in. We got frozen in at that low levy. So, in order to increase our revenues, we can't do it through taxes, but we can do it through this economic development agreement. Now, I don't know specifically if the state did this purposely, but I'm sure they did. they realize what they've done to the counties, and if the county gets a big project coming in of some sort, they decided, let's give them a chance. If they choose, if the county chooses, you can take an economic development payment rather than take a, send it through the taxes. And the last thing I would say is you all can do some, things for the county that we would have never been able to do without these solar projects. So I would encourage you to approve an economic development payment.
And real quick, I'd like to, on behalf of our participating landowners, Linda Bell and her family are participating in our Starke Central project. And I'd just like to recognize her real quick if she has any other thoughts she'd like to add.
Sure. Like Nick said, I'm Linda Bell, and my husband was Jack Bell of 54 years. Some of you probably knew him. I know you did. We had two children. Jill is our daughter right here, and a son, David, who lives in southern Indiana. Jill's an attorney. I'm a retired nurse. And Jack, I'm also representing, he's passed away in 2022. And so we're here today, as Nick said, as a farm family in favor of solar all the way. And I want to just give you a little bit of history of our farming background. I wrote some notes so I wouldn't start rattling on like I did in the commissioners meeting, because you could get me wound up. So Jack and I both grew up here in Knox. I was right in town, and Jack was north of Knox on his family farm, where he helped his dad since he was 10 years old. So the total of his life, he spent 60 years at the farms here in Starke County working. We married in 1968, began farming. We bought some land of our own and got started. We went on to raise our two children here in Starke County on the family farm at Davis Township, right south of Hamlet. That farm was purchased by Jack's paternal grandparents in 1920. Both our kids went on to graduate from Oregon Davis. I'm proud to say Jill was a valedictorian of her class. I have to say, I know. And like I said, Jack has since passed, since we committed to the solar project in 2020, he passed in 22. So we as a family are continuing his legacy and in doing what he wanted for our family, and he believed in the solar all the way. Jack, as was his father, Tom, who some of you I'm sure remember, Tom was a 16-year commissioner here in Starke County. Jack was very devoted to the Starke County community and was involved in many organizations here in the county throughout his life, receiving numerous community awards reflecting his dedication to the community and citizens of this county. Jack also spent 20 years as a Starke County councilman here and was president for most of those years. And Jack was well aware of the difficulties of this office, and he took his duties to the county very seriously. Like I said, Jack and I were first introduced to solar in the fall of 2020. And our final decisions on this project were based on many discussions with the solar company over a period of time and educating ourselves on the topic and bringing our kids into the discussion. We right away, what jumped out to us and our son who lives in Bloomington, southern Indiana, was the green energy part of it, that technology, and then thinking forward into what that impact is, especially as a farmer. And now we're not putting chemicals all over the ground and fertilizer and fuel all over the place. So thinking forward into what that means for the citizens and the US as a whole, as solar is now going across the country. And it has a lot of benefits. And then another one was when the representative began talking about the tax base and the benefit to the county and how that works. Jack's eyes, he looked at me and his eyes just lit up. I kid you not, because he knows what this job right here takes and how hard it is when there is no money. which was most of the time the case here in Starke County, being a small county. There was no money. And so this is where his eyes lit up and they had him right then and there. So, we were willing, to offer our farmland. This is how we saw it. We were willing to offer our farmland for this purpose. And we felt then, and we still do, that the county would greatly benefit due to the farmers willing to join us in this endeavor, which is a lot of our farm families all together right there in the Center Township, Knox, and some in Davis Township. We're donating in a sense, our land to this project in commitment to the community and citizens of this county who are going to gain the tax-based revenue from our land. And also, of course, benefit to our family for many, many reasons going forward. Jack is no longer here to do the active farming. I have to contract the farms out. And our two children do not want to continue working the farms or managing the farms. And we have 5 grandchildren. This will benefit us because we trusted in solar, we still do, and in the whole concept. They will manage the farms going forward when I'm no longer here. Or my children and grandchildren. So we're and are 100% for it. It's a good thing.
Thank you, Linda.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Nick?
Yeah.
I don't know if this might be a good time element, but actually, Justin, I was just thinking like, since there's so many people here, I'm sure some are for, some are against. I talked to Todd, I think,
time.
yeah, but if we can make it quickly, like, I think maybe in fairness, like a couple of minutes each. But I think we should start at one corner and hear everybody out.
I think instead of doing that, I would move to table this issue at this time. Because these documents are agreements, which are contracts. And I don't know of a single person or entity who would go ahead and sign a contract without at least making one counter offer or having, in our case, having an executive session with a third-party consultant about making that counter offer. We've been accused as a council, and the commissioners have been accused too, of moving too quickly on these things. And there's no reason why an executive session can't be held with an entity such as, I think Todd, you mentioned Baker Tilly might provide these services, and I know you don't have a great love for them. But a company like them could come in for an executive session. So I would at this time just move to table it. Before we spend another hour going around the room with the fan club.
I'm just a little confused on why this is just now coming up after all of our meetings over the past 6 months.
Well, look, I'll speak to some of
Can I
that.
ask first, because I actually brought the first thing up about going around the room, I did. In fairness, like I asked the rest of the council that too, like we have a lot of people here that might not be here next time for or against. If we make them do it quickly, don't you want to hear?
I think it's more than fair. I mean,
Yeah, I do.
You said yes, if I
I
asked
just
you.
want to make a statement. The reason I'm interested in what Kathy said, this has nothing to do with solar. It has zero to do with solar. It has to do what is in the best interest of the county taxpayers.
Yeah.
Somebody smarter than me has got to tell me that, hey, we took that EDA agreement, is that a better deal than having it taxed and having that money go to the local entities to spend the money as they see fit, instead of us spending it? And I mean, I don't know, we're not all gonna be here forever. What happens to the next group that gets here and they decide, you know, I think we're gonna build a statue in the middle of the street. Sure, let's 10 of us, 6 of us agree, all right, we'll build a statue in the center of it, and the money's just squandered. I'm not against solar. You people, what you do with your land, that is totally your business. The deal that, or the procedure we want to go through should have zero effect on you, because it's not with you. It's about what is the best for the county government, for
And
the
the
county taxpayers.
Right.
That's what's best. This council cannot stop solar in no way, no shape, no form, because it's not even part of our deal. Our only deal is money.
Then why would you want to turn down that kind of money for the county?
I didn't, you hear what I said. I didn't say turn it down. if Baker Tilly, a consultant says, hey, that is the best deal in the world for you guys, I'm all for it.
This deal is the same terms of the Doral agreement
That's
that
right,
Baker
that-
Tilly
and that was
and
down our
and
throat.
Barnes and Thornburg reviewed. And that this entire board voted for.
And I think as Councilman Linebacker said, he felt it was shoved, I wasn't here at the time, shoved down your throat.
Wasn't explained.
It was it was not one time has it ever been explained.
Not at all.
And I don't trust the representatives here to give an impartial explanation.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Can I procedurally just,
please,
and please, anybody correct me if I'm wrong, so. Maybe I need a little clarification. You guys weren't asking for approval tonight, right?
Correct.
You're asking for the introduction tonight, a public hearing a month from now.
Exactly.
And potentially approval at that. Andy, I'll also defer to you too, and approval potentially after public hearing at that October meeting, right?
That's correct.
So I mean, in effect, it's being tabled a month.
technically, right.
I mean, tonight would just be the introduction. So I mean, you guys stick with what you want, but I just want to lay out the landscape.
I think before I'm willing to consider anything, I think we need the executive session that has been brought up.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And something that I wasn't aware of when you were going through your introductory. How many permanent jobs was this gonna create?
10 across both projects, 5 for each project.
It's 5 for each project, and you said 10 jobs. And you said paying approximately $75,000 a year salary per job.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. As provided in the SB one in your
Okay.
documents. Yep.
thank you.
Mhm.
Stark County citizens, so
Pardon me?
are those jobs gonna be for Stark County citizens?
They have to be local jobs. Yeah, it's 10 W2 jobs is required by the SB one.
It's three, no, it says 6 to 10, actually.
On that
Six.
one, but there's 2 projects, so you can add them both together.
Right, one's 3 to 5, the other one's 3 to 5.
Yeah, so,
That's important to me.
so
So it could
we,
be 6.
It could be 6.
so if we build a small project for reasons we don't know today, if it ends up being 110 megawatts,
Yeah, that'd
we
be
would need
different.
fewer jobs, right?
And then the other thing, we're talking about money. Ms. Brock, the commissioners meeting with that DS engineer, I know you guys are gonna take care of that.
Yep.
Well, the fee that they gave the county was based on both these projects being constructed at the same time, and that's not true. They're not gonna be constructed at the same time.
I talked with Jenny about that. Has no
Okay.
concern.
All right, I'm just worried about us getting a trip back down the road. That's all.
So to my original point, is okay, if we do that, since we have so many people here, I mean. In fairness,
Well, if
So-
they're that enthusiastic about seeing the project before.
I mean, is that
I'm sure
something we
they
need to
would
vote
mind
on, or
that.
can one council person ask for
Well,
that?
And here it applies around the board, right? We've already opened it to public comment. We can't now viewpoint discriminate. I mean, that applies to everything, right? Like, we've already accepted some public comments, so we can't really now say, we're gonna shut it off. I mean, you can cap it, you can say 30 seconds piece, you can say 45 seconds
What's
piece.
that,
I
30
just,
or a minute?
I'm a little worried of now cutting off public comment. So we can set this up.
Something, whatever.
I can understand that, Jeff.
Can we go around? If you don't mind, so. In fairness, because it looks like there's a lot of minutes here, can we just say 1 minute each person? That would be fair, wouldn't it, Justin? Right, if we just said 1 minute per person.
I mean, you
Somebody
guys
can
said
help
it,
watch
you
the
said-
clock, but, so let's start with Jim Cook in the corner, and we'll just go all the way around the room. And I'm sorry, one thing, please state your name when you're up, and then I need everybody to sign though on the way out if you're speaking, so please make sure you do that.
Jim Cook, I'm born and raised here in Starke County. 3rd generation farmer, the boys that go to OD school. I'm for the solar. Actually, I had proposed to put my land into solar. It doesn't look like I need my land. But I'm still here. It's not because I'm gonna be leasing property to them. I'm still here because I just think it's a good thing for the county. If everybody remembers 3 or 4 or 5 years ago when the OD school had the vote where they were gonna maybe close the school if we didn't raise the taxes, and the people voted for that. My taxes went up on my small farm, and like my acreage, 600-700 acres, it's hard to make a living now farming if you're not a giant farmer, so. The school's gonna do the same thing again in 3 or 4 years. They're not gonna have any money. There's gonna be a vote to raise taxes again for everybody, and this is just a great thing for the county. It's a great thing for the county.
Sir, you could, each person, anything from you, sir? Ma'am? Sir?
Terry Cusell, my brother Joe Cusell, we're in the solar project as well. I basically repeat what Jim's repeat back there. I grew up around here. I got 3 kids, 8 grandchildren. They all want to be able to live on the farm, grow up on the farm, raise their own kids on the farm. This is one opportunity to find anything else maybe to keep the farm without it being with suppressed prices of the crops and everything else. Times are pretty tough. You know, when things are down, we don't have too much backing us up. This is one thing we're looking forward to.
Go all the way around the room, we'll get to you.
Oh, we already had you guys speak, so is there anything relevant? Yeah, that's true. She didn't consider that. Sorry.
My name is Jill Bell Mangus. I'm an attorney. I grew up in Starke County, graduated from Morgan Davis, so did my brother. My dad served on council, Jack Bell. He would be appalled if we tabled this. Let me tell you, there is no reason to stall this. And we need the revenue in this county all across the board for schools, hospitals, parks. I don't know why we would ever turn that kind of money down. My dad was very much in favor of this county, toiled his entire life for this county in service, and so did my grandpa, and they would have jumped on an opportunity to help the community like this. We don't need to keep stalling and tabling anything. I have full faith in this council that you can make the decisions to go forward. I don't think you need any experts to help you. If you want to have advisors to come in and help you figure out where the money should go, that $1 million per year, to help you decide that.
Call, but thank you.
That's
Thank you. Appreciate
maybe a thing, but you can make a decision.
Oh, did you have something? Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'll let you go first, and we'll just come down this road. Do either of you have anything? Man,
I'm David Weinberg. I own the gym here in Knox. My uncle was Harold Weinberg. We've been doing business in Starke County for 100 years, since 1924. I called Nick Cohen, who was in charge of the Doral project, when I first heard about a bunch of concerns. He actually returned my call from Israel. And I told him, I'm gonna go work in the solar fields myself. Well, last year on February 6th, I went out to the field and was hired, and I worked out there for 8 weeks. In every concern that I went out there with bringing in illegal immigrants, all these other things, I saw one by one, by working in the field myself, that this solar in this county is so positive. What Larry Wicker did to get us to be number 3 in the state when it comes to the stellar community, this is the tip of the spear. This is actually what gets us to win stellar. I took 100 jobs to Culver in 1991 and helped develop Culver because there was so much difficulty.
Time.
Okay,
sorry, David.
so much difficulty in getting things done. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Man,
Joanne Bailey from San Pierre. I have a couple of questions that I've never heard this approach unless it's, I just didn't hear it. I have a question for the county, the commissioners and the council. Did you have an electrical engineer look at the plans before any decision was made about doing solar?
yes.
It's not our
An
place.
independent one
Yes.
or someone that works
That's-
for one of the companies?
That's not the council's business.
Bob Aloy is currently reviewing
That's the commissioner's business. Council has.
for the
nothing to do with
commissioners
that.
as an independent engineer.
We have to understand, keep it separate.
Sorry, Joanne.
We didn't, because it's not our,
Commissioners.
It's commissioners.
That would be up to you in the second tier.
no. We have nothing to do with any construction or permits or the planning commission. We have nothing to do with any of that.
Okay, Don's on, is Don still on? Does he know?
He's on.
They did, it's all theirs.
Don Binkley?
That's time.
Cassandra's. Sorry.
Okay, did anybody get one of these letters? It's says that there's a notice adjacent property owners within Starke County, adjacent to the proposed Dunn's Bridge. They're looking to put another site in. Did anybody see any of this at all? They're all certified letters. The post office had a mitt full of them. There was about 70 or 80 of them.
Sorry. Thank you, Jim.
So there's no answer for me there.
Sorry about that.
Thanks, Don.
I don't know if he heard, ma'am. Did you have anything?
No, okay.
down the row, everybody down there. Please. Your name first, and if you could sign in before you leave.
Randy Luthi, been out here about 7 years. We moved out, it's a nice area. And when this first started, somebody up there, I don't know who it was, said we're not getting battery storage in Starke County. Are we getting it?
That is not a council decision.
Do you have an answer though?
It's not up to us to make the
I'm
answer.
not- you
It's up
know
to the
the answer.
commissioners. Well, the answer sounds like from Nick, the answer is no, but the answer from the other one sounds like it's yes, they want it. But it hasn't been approved yet. But that is not our decision to even make.
I'm not asking decisions, I'm asking a question.
And the question is, you would need to ask the people that would make that decision to approve that, which would be the commissioners and the plan
You
commission.
haven't heard if we're getting battery storage.
It was brought up at the commissioners meeting today. I don't know what the verbiage was. I was not here. I don't know what it was. But it has nothing to do with us.
Well, sir, if you live over in that area, I reached out to Commissioner Chesick. He lives in that area. He was also the longest commissioner we have currently.
Time.
Well, not me, but he's been on the commission the longest, and he was actually, when this come in, I would think he would have the most knowledge about that, especially battery storage over that way.
You know where it would be?
No, I'm saying, I've only been on a year and a half, so I can't answer your questions, and I'm, like he said, I'm counsel. I'm saying, if you talk to Mr. Chesick, he's been on the longest, he's been on commission, this is his 8th year, he's ready to do 4 more. He was here when solar all came in, like all of it, so I would think he would know, you might want to reach out to your local commissioner in that area. But as far as Hoosier Solar, he did say today, this guy right here, he said Hoosier Solar has
I know it's more than one company.
no, I understand, but we can't speak for those guys, so I mean.
We're here tonight to talk about Hoosier. I know you might have seen in a previous agenda, but Nextera is not on tonight's agenda.
It doesn't make a bit of sense that it's agricultural either. This is purely.
It was a decision by the state. It wasn't made by us, but thank you, sir. We're out of time for you, ma'am.
Is next year gonna be put back on a schedule at some point in time?
They would have to request that. I'm assuming probably in the future, Joanne.
Okay. The answer to your question, they're looking at putting that down on 10 and 421 where the municipal thing is.
Joanne, your cane.
Thank you. Oh, my, yeah. Sorry.
Ma'am, did you have anything? Ma'am, did you have anything? Okay, Mrs. Pugh, Mr. Pugh.
Yes.
That's Mr. Barlow.
Mr. Barlow, I'm sorry. Man, it's been a long, sorry, Mr. Barlow. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
My question is for Hoosier Solar. You indicated that, no battery storage, is that a guarantee?
Yeah, you can go verify that with MISO PJM. If we were going to put battery storage within the next 5 years, you could go find a queue position for it there. You won't find a queue position for battery storage by the regulators. You tell us when we can plug into the grid.
So we'll never get battery storage from you.
Not from Hoosier Solar.
So Nick,
Is there a reason why you wouldn't do battery storage?
Is there a reason why tell me, it's the same reason why you're asking about it. The county hasn't gone through a conversation on this yet. It's a complicated new thing. We didn't think it was a good idea. We didn't do it.
I mean, doesn't it generate better income for you?
It's a different project altogether.
so,
It's a
Time.
different project.
so Nick, with that being said, if Nextera did.
I can't even answer for next year.
Well, let's take a hypothetical situation. If a solar company knew they were gonna have battery storage, that decision would have been made years ago. That didn't happen a week ago.
Theoretically, yep. But you would have had to apply, so we started our conversation, as I said.
Because
Yep.
I understand
Yeah,
that.
so we started that in 2020. We still are going through that
Yeah.
queue. They would have to do the same.
So some people act like the battery storage is something that just came up in a month, but evidently it's been years.
At one point, to clear up something Dick said, he says that's not a good idea. He doesn't mean battery storage
Yeah.
is not a good idea. He meant it wasn't a good thing for us to do at this
Yeah,
time.
that's well taken.
Stark County's not ready
Yeah,
for
that's
it,
well taken.
is my opinion.
Well taken.
I have a question. What about like, a subsidiary of your company? Would they put it in?
They would be held to the same permitting requirements, and we have not applied for battery storage in our permit.
Why isn't your project ready
for battery storage, but the other companies apparently is.
I can't answer for the other companies. I can only say that we're listening to.
He needs to go on room. We're supposed to.
And we hear that certain county doesn't want battery storage.
And then if we can stay in order. Sorry, we'll get to you though, Glenn.
Yeah, I have a question. Did I hear you say that our county is only gonna get $1 million a year from solar?
No,
Just from Hoosier.
from Hoosier, right now it'd be about 2.5 million for the projects that are plus on. There'll be about $1 million a year for bandwidth and about 400 and some thousand for the next area.
And those are just the economic development payments. On top of that, there's the assessed real value that of the real property of the 13,000 acre that we pay on top of that.
I think a little interjection,
Yeah.
just so people can make a comparison. The base rate for agricultural land is about 2,200. And these are the base rates, actually, not necessarily the assessed value. And the base rate for that same land, if you put solar panels on it, is 13,000.
Yeah, thank you, Marty.
And my second question.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
they showed hands earlier, how many people are here participating in solar? How many of those people actually live in Starke County? That's what I'd like to know. Next to the solar.
Or living.
Are there,
They're leasing their land, but live there.
We have a-
yeah, that's what I wanna know. Do we have very many folks that leave their land in?
We're counted.
Raise your hand if you live in Starke County and you support our Hoosier Solar project. There we go.
Or if they're, that's a different.
Yeah, thank you. I'm
Leasing.
Amanda,
No, I know.
anything?
I have a question. I heard someone with the argument that this is really gonna help our schools. But I understand that the abatement, if you do the abatement, that money doesn't go to the school systems.
It's up to our
It comes to us in our discussion, so some council can say,
Rules
we're not gonna get the school
We
in.
got short circuited.
They're two separate taxing units, so they wouldn't ever be together. Mr. Pugh.
I understand that if they're just tax, then those taxes can be used and increase what you think in our county and everybody.
That's not correct.
Because they have money.
60
to go to
seconds.
school.
Well, we could.
Larry said that it could go to sports. but not-
No.
We agreed on 60 seconds.
Making fun of it, it's not gonna go towards sports and it's not, so don't ever say that I said that.
You said
Okay,
something.
so, if they can set order.
Back to the tape, because I heard something come up about sports, but not education.
You said, it
We're not.
That's what you said.
So, Mr. Pugh, sorry, and I'm sorry for saying that earlier, I just saw you and then your name was on
I
it.
just have a question about
Calm down.
the materials, actually, I have more now. The materials that next are used are made in the worst polluting country in the world, which is China. Where will your materials come from? Steel? We have steel mills 50 miles away and they use China steel to handle it from China. Where will yours come?
We make every effort to source all of our products within the US, and it's gonna be cheaper to bring steel from US Steel 50 miles away, to your point, than it is anywhere else.
How about the channels? Where are they coming from?
We're gonna make every effort to get every panel made in America that we can.
So what does that translate into reality? What are your efforts gonna result in? 0 or all of them?
I can't give you the
Making
exact
your
amount
best
because
effort
I'm
isn't
not,
really an answer.
yeah, I'm not buying every panel today, and I can't buy every panel today, but.
So you can't make any assurances other than.
I just
you'll make
made an
effort.
assurance.
You'll make an effort.
I
But as far
just
as
made
the
an
result
assurance.
of that, you don't know.
I just made an assurance that
Speculation.
we will make every effort to buy every panel in the US that
But
we
no
can get.
assurances that any would.
If not, thank God President Trump.
There's
Tariffs in place.
There's a tax incentive. There's a tax incentive for us to buy within the US, so we're incentivized to buy in the US. On top of, to his point,
At least we're getting tariffs.
the president I work for in the White House is coming back probably, and he might be putting new tariffs in that make it more expensive to buy panels outside the US.
If we could move on to Roberta, I'm sorry, I can't see who's on the other side of you, ma'am.
Hi, Lindsay, I represent Coastal Farm. We are not in support of this project. we are losing at least 300, maybe 400 acres of the land that we farm. We wanted to buy some of the ground, but the solar company offered more money than it was worth to make money as farmers for buying the ground. Not to mention, we're worried about our homes, our values of our home, because it will be completely surrounded. Our farm will be surrounded by the solar fields. With the removal of all the woods around our farm, we're worried about the flooding issues we have in all the fields where these panels are gonna go, not to mention the ditches that flood every single spring. I can talk so much more, but I don't have time. So
I
that's
think
what can
that,
say
I
right
think
now.
it says tree removal. Was there anything else, ma'am?
That's all I have.
Sir? Tori, Jim? Mr. Ryan?
So this is a couple things from me. One, you know, they can sit up there and about how they threw money this way and they threw money that way, threw money this way. It was all buying votes. The fact that after they put money into the swine barn, they showed up at the very next fair board meeting with a box full of hats and goodies. Now, I think it was Hoosier Solar. You know, we're passing out hats and everything else. They're trying to buy their favors. And every single plan that Larry set up there and every idea he gave, every one of those after 20 years is gonna fall back onto the taxpayers' shoulders. So once again, I've asked before that we not try to make any plans to spend any of that money to see, you know, if solar's gonna be successful in 15 years even, because it's not, once again, most of the people in the two front rows, I would like to know how many of you are actually receiving paychecks from the solar industry to be sitting here speaking out in favor of it. You know, there's a lot.
It's time, Justin, sorry. Ma'am. And then I'll just go back here, ma'am, with the yellow shirt.
I'm Angie Allender and I'm pro solar.
You're for solar, okay? Sorry.
That's okay. Margaret's Alphon and we are pro solar.
So, okay, thank you, ma'am.
Oh.
Thank you.
Tony Basilio, pro solar. No one's paying me to be here to speak on behalf of solar. My parents are involved in the business. They live in Starke County, even though I don't. One of the things I did is I put the models together to look at different things, FSA, the CRP, the farming, leasing, and by far, leasing to the solar company is the best business for our family. The other thing that I would have to say is there any other place where you can get $1 million a year that doesn't have a smokestack, that doesn't use your water, that doesn't have an outfall? I came out of industry that's very, very difficult to manage, and that's, are you gonna grow your tax base any other way? This is here, you need to understand.
Thank you.
No. Hi, Lucas. And definitely for the story. So you brought up a lot of good points. I will reiterate, but the one point that I'd like to make is you have about a 2-year window. Our basic fact, we will run out of energy eventually if we rely on coal. It's a non-polluting, again, a non-polluting source of energy that drives economic development. And that's what you guys should be looking at. Otherwise, business in Starke County will say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Barb Lucas, I'm from solar because I'm worried about global warming. I'm sorry about all the issues locally. I can understand if I lived across the street from where it's been developed, I'd be very worried. But I want my grandchildren, my great grandchildren to have a place to stay and live.
Thank you. Ma'am. Sir, anything?
Well, Charlie Hasbro, I would, not why I was here today, but I would just simply ask the council to do their due diligence. I mean, that's the basis of this. I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons. we've heard all the pros. Somewhere, we have to hear what some of the potential downside is, and I'm not weighing one side or the other, but I would just ask the council to do its due diligence. Thank you.
And that's what I'm asking
That's
for
what
by
I'm asking
tabling it.
And,
Exactly.
and the discussion doesn't end tonight with this resolution. It's merely the start of this conversation over 2 months. It's still another hearing in October.
Larry, were you good? No?
I'm good.
Thank you, Judge. Marty.
I only want to say one thing, the ordinance doesn't allow large scale deforestation.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want to clear that up. And, you know, I think that's, I am here being paid by Hoosier Solar, and I appreciate the work.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
What's the definition of large scale?
Well, it doesn't have a specific definition.
That's what I thought.
But you know what large scale is one tree, large
And then
scale.
that,
No, seriously.
the
one tree,
argument, the
large
argument
scale.
over that is gonna end up in front of a judge and cost a landowner money to litigate whether the lot that is not supposed to be deforested is being large scale deforested or not. So there is no clear definition. It's vague.
But you agree it's in the ordinance.
I'm not arguing with you that it's in the ordinance,
It is
but
in
it's
fact in
vague
the
and it would
ordinance,
end
is
up
it not,
someone
Ms.
having
Sandra?
to sue over that to have that term defined. So maybe the ordinance, I think there are some proponents of ordinance amendment in here also. Maybe that'll happen after January.
I think we'll move on from that. Mandy technically already let you go, so can you make it really fast? Yeah, if you can make it really fast, because really, please.
So in the ordinance, the company cannot deforest, but it does not say anything about the owner deforesting before the project.
There you go.
Is that correct?
Yeah, sure.
We're permitting on that land, so the permit would apply to both.
So the answers.
Man.
Ruth, as a landowner, am I entitled to knock down a tree if I want, or do I have to have her permission? A tree, or is that something I'm able to do?
He's out of line.
I'm sorry, sir,
I
but
just wanna know where your status is.
we'll all be available afterwards if you'd like to approach it.
Thank you, Dave. Mary Perrin, I grew up in Starke County. Spent the first 18 years of my life here, went away to college and kept going, came back to the area 14 years ago. And I've been back in Starke for 12. I made up my mind when I moved back here, put up or shut up. I'm not gonna be the one to sit and complain about what's not here without making an effort to make the county and community better. This is an unprecedented opportunity to do so with revenue the likes of which this county may never see again. And yes, I work for Hoosier Solar. And no, my soul is not for sale. I'm not going to work for a company that I think is going to sell out and harm the community I grew up in and that I love. And I would ask you all to please be mindful of that tonight and consider support of this resolution. Thank you.
My name is Don Kent, 60-year resident, landowner, employer, in Starke County. And I kind of just look at economics and say, $1 million a year to use to better the whole county. Why do we even think about not doing it?
There's always gonna be.
I am, an employee of Hoosier Solar, excuse me. But I'm an ecologist, with a master's degree, Jenny Plumone. Okay, but I'm an ecologist and a registered environmental manager. And part of what I do, or a lot of what I do, is make sure that we're not wholesale cutting down forests. And working with agencies and making sure that wildlife is protected and that corridors are there. And that the people who hunt can still hunt. Okay, and I hunt. My husband's a dairy farmer. I just want you to know that Hoosier Solar does care. Okay, and you can feel free to ask me questions anytime.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir.
Yeah, and now my questions are more, I'm excited, it's kind of similar to what the gentleman back here said. If I understood it right, the 13,000 an acre, that taxes is gonna be paid going forward if the solar goes through, regardless, right? But so without an economic development agreement, that's all the county gets.
Am I
No,
missing something?
Tax on all the personal property, on all the equipment. And that's the whole thing. I don't know how much clearer I can make this. This is not even about solar. This could be about building a widget factory. This has zero to do with solar now, one iota. It has to do with being responsible councilmen and doing our due diligence.
I think Judge Hasner put it.
Yeah, if they say, if they could tell her whoever's come back and they say, man, that EDA, that is the best agreement in the world, I'll make the motion that we approve all of it.
Absolutely.
Because it has nothing to do with solar, nothing.
We contracted with Baker Tilly and had them review our project, and to make sure it was consistent with the Doral agreement that you already paid them to review and pass with yourself.
Well, I think something very important to that is true. You've made the statement that what you're doing is you. It's not what NextEra does. It's not what Mammoth does. So with that being said, we as a council need to do our due diligence and make sure that everything is in line for this project. The other project that was approved, there's nothing to do about it. It's done. The only thing we have control of is what's right now. And I swear to God, if they say that is the best deal there is in the world, I'll make the motion.
So their past opinion though doesn't wash anymore? I mean,
Well, I don't know, the past opinion was there was never gonna be battery storage, and we found out that wasn't the case.
that
So-
wasn't an
They
opinion
would
by
change
Baker
their
Tilly.
opinion. How many years ago was that done?
How many years ago was
Changed
it?
all the time.
5 years? Yeah, it's been 4 or 5 years, so it's time.
If I get to finish and ask that one more time on my minute.
I think you did.
I had one question. No, so I just so I understand this step tonight is really just the initial step. It's just the beginning of the conversation. It's not a final step.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, and I wanna make
Okay.
sure.
Sorry, Justin, the
I
attorney.
just again want to bring this procedurally full circle. I don't have a vote here, obviously, but we got a lot of man hours put into this. Again, tonight is just to set up for public hearings so we can hear more of these. And Andy, please correct me because you and I have had extensive conversations about procedure. What does it have to look like? If you guys want to put it in front of people, are you asking for approval tonight or just to set it for a public hearing where we can hear all those voices? It gives us, it's already built in. What an extra, what is today, the 16th, 36 days that we consider this. And some of you may not like me for this comment. You knew I've been working on these for a month and a half. I don't care if it's solar, if it's wind, if it's what. I beg people for feedback. Bruce called me. Thank you, Bruce. You called and asked questions about this. It frustrates me as your representative that I've emailed these agreements out. I've asked if there's anything whatsoever, and I've heard nothing back. So then it looks like egg on my face. We're sitting here going, we've not had the chance to talk about these. We've not engaged survey. I begged you for feedback. And I deny them
And
next month.
normally
If you,
the feedback-
hold on, Cassie, hold on, let me at least, hold on. I know, because I know you're not gonna like me for this. If after next month, you don't like what you hear, you do a review and it says it's not, vote it down. I don't care. I'm not a resident here. I have no dog in this fight. As a landowner in Pulaski County, I turned down solar on my property. So if anybody needs any more convincing that I'm an unbiased individual, I am an unbiased individual. But keep this moving forward. Again, vote it down next month if you don't like what they hear, but do a little bit more research in that time. Invite specialists around. This is just setting it for a public hearing. I'm sorry, Cassie, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was on a roll there and I wanted to
My
get that
point
out.
is, in order to begin the initial conversation and ask or to provide you with feedback, the other council people with whom I spoke and myself, again, it's a proposed contract and no counteroffer has been prepared.
Did you
because we
make a
haven't had-
counteroffer?
Because we haven't had an opportunity to do so or to put one together.
I've been
And we
talking
need to do
with
that.
council for 6 months about this.
Well, then another month shouldn't hurt, should it?
Why did you not
Why is it 30
respond and
days?
refuse to meet with me over the past 6 months?
I don't recall refusing.
I have an email from you refusing.
Even I guess I.
Mr. Murphy Nix called me twice.
I guess
in the last
because I
few
have
months,
that prerogative.
asking me if I've had any questions
Because I got-
with your soul,
Thank you.
to put it on the table.
I'm not saying they haven't reached out.
Since you asked, what the request is tonight is not to approve what has been referred to as a contract. It's
Sorry,
a preliminary resolution. And so preliminary resolution only to establish an area of an economic revitalization area. That sets the wheels in motion for the conversation to occur. It's not a confirmatory resolution. It doesn't make it permanent. It's just to have the conversation. So we want to keep the conversation going. The commissioner approved, or excuse me, recommended that you approve the preliminary resolution only. And so we would like to get at least that conversation to keep going. I didn't mean to step on anybody's toes, I'm just trying to respond to Mr. Schramm. So that's not an agreement. That's just a preliminary resolution. It is what it sounds like.
Is this the only thing that the commissioners approved today?
They also, the economic development agreement with the contingency to pay for BS engineering.
But they were ready to table that.
Yes, they were.
They were ready until there was,
Yeah, and that conversation can continue to occur. That hasn't been approved by the council. It's
This is
your-
not a final decision.
That's right.
I'd like to go ahead.
We still had one guy that wanted to talk,
Okay.
Bruce, sorry.
My name's Tom Cormkin. My family, my ancestors have been here since before this county was a county. And I'm not for or against solar. I agree with Todd. Sam. If they need time, they should get time. They got the other deal shoved down their throat. Cody Todd.
I feel it was.
This should not happen again. Now, there's a lot of benefits and money coming into this county, and this county needs it. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Don't have any problem with the solar at all. Really, I don't. Good for them. Good for you. But that, they need time. That's what they need. If it's taking 6 months, another month's not gonna hurt. Panels are already in, buddy. They're not going anywhere.
Time.
Oh, well, they
So
would be.
I think that's the extent of public comment, right? No, you guys are all okay.
See it?
Did you have one?
Just clarifications, it's,
Well, that's okay. I said I would give everybody a minute, so.
it's really not important, just. Just making, Aaron Steely, I work for Hoosier Solar, work with Nick and everybody else that you met. Just wanted to reiterate one more time, we're not Dunn's Bridge, we're not NextEra, we're not Doral, we're not Mammoth Solar, we're Hoosier Solar, we have the Starke Central and the North Bend projects. We are not developing battery storage, it's a totally different technology. We're not in the interconnection queue, which would take realistically 4 to 6 years to get to where we are now. We have no plans to develop that. And we've submitted preliminary plans. You can look at our plans. If you're worried about trees, you can look, you can go when that package is released, I believe, by the commissioners. Once the third-party engineering is done reviewing it, you can look at our plans, or you can even get in touch with us. I'm happy to let you take a look at them. That's fine. You can see we're not cutting down extensive trees and see what the layout is.
Time.
That's all. Thanks.
Okay, so could I just say one thing? I'm sure I can say a lot. Todd.
I'm not done.
Okay, but so can we go down, maybe go down the
I
road?
said I'm not done.
So, okay, gotcha. I just wanted to throw out there though, and you don't have to answer me on this, Cassandra, but was there any post on Facebook that said basically you and 3 other council people had already made a decision about this?
I had spoken individually. I think that's what the post said with some other council. So there would, if you're trying to go down a road of some sort of.
I'm not going down any road. I just wanted you to clarify that because you mentioned
Just
that.
like you
earlier.
talk with other council people outside of the meeting, other council people have spoken as well. And to my understanding, it's all been individually.
Okay, I was just asking though, because I
Oh,
thought
I
one of your
was clear.
posts, you named them by name, so, okay.
I think Facebook would go away. This is causing chaos for anything in the whole wide world. I mean, I don't. I'm like at a loss. I mean, how much clearer can we make this? This is not about solar. It has nothing to do with solar. You do what you land, I don't care what you do to land. I don't care if you put oil wells, I don't care what you do. It's not my business, that's your land. Some of the things that happened in the past, maybe there should have been some more hearings or more public, even though they were publicized and nobody came. Okay, so now we're down to this, and right away, everybody starts attacking us because we're against solar. I'm not against solar. I don't have, that has nothing to do with this, zero. It is just what everybody has said. We are the county physical body. And our only job is to take care of the county physical issues. It is not to worry about battery storage, it's not to worry about Buffalo, it's not to worry about anything. It's to worry about this and nothing else. And with that being said, I personally am willing to maybe make, I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the word is. I can't think right now because I'm on a roll, just like Justin. I can understand fully why they're coming with this, because I know they want to start bringing up the area and everything, but the only thing I can say that if there's somehow we can satisfy everyone, more importantly, the council and the taxpayers, which is, sorry, Nick, it's more important than Hoosier Solar, as you probably already know that, and you should expect.
I agree, that's why we.
You should expect us to do that. And I mean, the last thing we want to do is stop your investment and stop this deal that people's made, because we can't stop it. We have no power at all to stop it. Zero.
The council doesn't.
No, we have none. And that's what everybody thinks. They think that we can do all, we can't do any of that.
That'll ultimately be up to the commissioner.
Yeah, plan commission, and all those deals are already made. I mean, with that being said, I mean, I would be willing to support this under one,
Condition.
thank you.
You're welcome.
One condition, that before the next meeting, when this comes up for a public hearing and approval, that we vote and we have Baker Tilly or whoever consultant that we choose, look at everything again and have them tell us.
What concerns me though is if this gets approved tonight and then the next meeting in October is to actually vote for approval or not, that we're not going to have time to get them in here. So that's why I would prefer to table this until the next hearing to give, and then it might get approved.
Could
and
you, I hate to ask you to do this, but could you rescind your motion so I can make a motion and you don't have to, you can ignore it, my motion?
Say that again.
Right now, you have a motion on the floor.
Mhm.
Okay, you have a motion on the floor, and I would like to make, I guess we can take that motion and make another motion, but I would like to make another motion.
With the condition.
And the motion that I would like to make, that we approve the preliminary resolution as presented with one major condition. And that condition is that we, as a board, whether it be an executive session or public session, I don't know which it would be, would meet with a consultant. And everybody would have time to have them look at this and present it to us as it being the best deal. So that way, when we come to the next meeting, it's not gonna be, well, you know, we don't know, we didn't have time to do it. This way, it puts us on the spot. And so the next meeting, we either pass it or we don't pass it. I think that's fair. I think that's fair to everybody. It's fair to everybody. I mean, the property owners, it doesn't matter. They've already made their deal. But right now, this is the deal we have to do for the taxpayers. And I think that's the fair thing to do. That's my opinion.
Are you willing to rescind your motion?
At this point, I will not rescind my motion because I don't like proposal that if we end up not meeting, then we have to go forward possibly approving this as written without having met. I mean, maybe I'm not understanding the condition you're putting.
I guess the condition I'm saying is if we can't do that, we just vote it down. We just vote it down. I mean, simple, plain and simple. Like I said, I am in full support of whatever Baker Tilly tells us. I mean,
Or similar.
or if they tell us there should be a hybrid of this or that, or whatever the case may be. I mean, I don't think any of it's rocket science. I mean, the tax formulas and all that, that's rocket science, as far as I'm concerned. I'll be honest with you, I understand very little.
Sorry, public commentary was held when is over.
The other thing though, Cassandra, you do have a motion on the floor, but I also said something about each council person saying something. I mean, does the council still want to say something? Or you want to go on?
I do.
I'm done talking.
Okay, Kay, did you have something you wanted to say?
I would like it explained better, like the tax abatement and that from Baker Tilly or whomever we get. I would like that.
Same.
Bruce?
I'm gonna go around the room a little bit. Linda, Mrs. Bell, I had the honor of serving with your husband, Jack. One of the hardest decisions we made, and he and I argued who broke the tie, was on the edit tax in Starke County. Believe me, we went through about this same procedure. There's another guy in this room who's a farmer that is solar, and back before my election, he said, Bruce, I'm gonna trust you to do the right thing. I was probably anti-solar at that time. Now I'm negative. I think about the Hoosier crowd. I wish the others that we dealt with were your caliber. Talk to Larry, talk to Mr. Lucas. My concern is how we're gonna spend the money. My foot dragging is how we, 7 councilmen and 3 commissioners, are gonna spend the money. Mrs. Pugh, my son is the superintendent at Oregon Davis. And the solar money was brought up at their last board meeting. And he says, Dad, you know, we're in a situation where if we had a catastrophe in Starke County, the schools would be used for healthcare. We have no backup generator. My problem with the solar money is that we're going to blow it and not spend it on the things that need to be spent. There was something about a wildlife corridor. I'll tell you what, the solar thing is going to screw that up. I don't care what you say. I'm a farmer. I know what it's like to have wildlife come in and wipe you out, but that's okay. I trust these guys, but I don't know that I trust ourselves on how we're going to spend the money. I met Mr. Pacilia, a friend of the family. Reg, you did some work for me years ago. My objection is not with you all. It's with us. This is a bargaining chip. I think Todd's on the right course. But I think there has to be assurances that we're just not going to blow this money. You know, you got to pay the rent before you go to Walt Disney World. And that's what I'm concerned about. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Barkman. You have contacted me numerous times over the last few months and asked if I had any questions or concerns about the project. Thank you for that. If we approve this evening, I'm in favor of approving it. I want to, if we approve this resolution this evening, and I'm trying to compromise with Cassandra, but that does not necessarily mean we, at the very next meeting, you're going to come in and demand for us to make the next step to the next meeting. Is that going to be?
State law requires 2 votes. And so even if you pass it today for the resolution and move it along, it is not approved until you have a second vote and a public hearing noticed with a sufficient gap from today's meeting.
So we're not mandated to
No.
move forward in the
No.
very 30 days from now.
No,
I'm asking Justin this too, right?
And this is just again to set a date for a public hearing where you would, yeah.
That's my question. And in fairness to you, Justin, you have asked us for the last 3 weeks, when you've sent us information, please respond with questions. Thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
Okay. So, and another problem that I do have, we all know that it's going to generate $1 million. How it's spent, that's to be decided when we receive the $1 million, not to be decided this evening. With that being said, I think a lot of good can be done with the money throughout the county. Get county input, Coons Lake input, Grovertown input, Sampier input, all over the county. Diversify the input of where the money needs to go, but that needs to be decided another day. Tonight, we're here to decide whether we're going to move forward on this resolution. We're not moving forward on where and when we're going to spend the money. So, And another thing, I am not necessarily in favor of spending thousands of dollars with a company such as, and I don't want to pick them out, like Baker Tilly or an advisement company. We're gonna spend 40 or 50 or $60,000 of taxpayers' money on something that the next 30 days, we can't sit down collectively in an executive session or ourselves and figure out if it's the right thing. I don't want to, that's very expensive, the consultant company. And I'm not sure that I want to spend your money spending $50,000 to $100,000 on getting their opinion that we're not necessarily going to like. That's all I have to say.
Would probably be considerably less than that, Howard.
Okay,
Still,
I stand corrected,
I don't.
but it will be some,
Probably 10,000.
Okay,
Less maybe, or less probably.
I stand.
Could be a lot more.
It could be.
But if you look at
Yeah.
the amount of
Yeah.
here. Abatements,
Yeah.
over the course of a decade,
Pretty minuscule.
$10,000 to $20,000.
Minuscule.
Like cheap
All
insurance.
right, so we'll go to Tony and then we'll come back to, I think you wanted to keep your motion moving, right, Cassandra?
At this point, I had not rescinded it.
Okay, yes, okay, go ahead.
So I'm gonna tell you guys, I think Todd hit it on the head. You know, we've been doing business with Hoosier. They've proved to be a good company. These are preliminary. I think when you do business, I am a small business, 11 employees, 19 years in business. I think when you do business like this, it says a lot about our company to keep things moving. I also know what you mean. We need the best deal, and we do. But on the other hand, every big project that brings in this kind of money gets some sort of tax abatement. I mean, you can't, you know what I'm saying? But I think Todd's got it. I'm in support of what Todd's saying. I think we need to move forward all this tonight. I think we can do the stipulation for some sort of deal, but I think we need to keep in mind too, that obviously, you know, they're bringing this all in. They should get some kind of. deal.
No, I'm
That's
not-
how it's called. I know you know that. I just want the public, because not everybody understands that. When you bring big projects in, and there's money coming in, because you just talked about $750,000 just in employees, wages locally. All these farms around here in this county are local farms, and that money's gonna get spent. Because they're local farms. So I just want to say that I'm on the same page with Todd, and it sounds like you are too. I think that's only right, that we keep moving forward with the company. We have another vote. I just think that's the right thing to do. You know, you always hear people say, oh, it's a shame you can't do business with a handshake anymore. Well, it's because of things like that. You try to do something and then, oh, forget it. They've worked at it. Justin contacted me, you contacted me. Sorry, I didn't end up getting with you, but I've talked to Justin a lot about it too. And even though you didn't say nothing to me, Justin, you only mentioned Bruce.
Tony, you're
That's just what I got to say. I think you're right on with it. Go ahead, you mind with your.
Hey, just one quick question, I promise I'll shut up. Okay, so. If this is approved today and the hearing, does the hearing by law have to be set at 30 days?
No, I do not believe so.
So here's my question. If we approve this. How much notice, does that have to be 30 days notice for the public hearing,
So there's publication requirements to publish notice for the public hearing.
which is different than our meetings?
But if you, I mean, if you could, so we were just, I think when we were looking through the calendar preliminarily to try to figure out what works for you guys, it was with respect to your time. I don't think there's anything stopping you guys. If you say October 21st is too soon, but maybe November 1, we want a meeting. I mean, if you guys call a special meeting, you publish it correctly, there's no issue with that.
A little more power for the November meeting.
Yeah.
that we have.
That I think, I mean. If you were to send your motion, I would make a motion to that point.
What I, at
Or
this
do
point,
what?
if my motion doesn't carry, it doesn't carry, but I feel like there might be members here who would want it on the record, what their vote would be on my motion, and then you're free to make your motion.
Okay.
All right,
Fair enough.
I would
So
want
your
my
motion,
remain.
your motion stands. So, without any more discussion, would you like to state it again for the record or just
You
so I
won't
don't
put me
mess
on
it
the
up?
spot.
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't write it down.
That's
My
okay.
motion would be to table the approval of these preliminary resolutions until such time as the council can become better informed as to the consequences, repercussions, benefits.
For clarity, is that for the ERA and the EDA
Yes.
together? Okay, so I have a motion from Cassandra. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. I'll ask all those in favor.
Could we have discussion?
I'm sorry, yes.
One
Sorry,
second.
yeah. No, it's
Todd,
fine.
would you repeat what you had proposed?
Well, I'm looking at the calendar again. I would make a motion that we tentatively approve the preliminary resolution as it is written, but. I would set the public hearing for October, it would be. Wait a minute, when this is September, right? I would set the public hearing, we have to be set for November 18th. That would be our stated meeting in November. And then, within that time. We were gonna have to probably approve an up to amount, or we're gonna have to contact Baker and Tilly and see what. They would charge, or whoever else, to look at this. But that's what my motion.
What was the date be?
That's what my motion would be. My motion would be to prove this as it is, because it doesn't mean anything other than it moves forward. And then we would set the public hearing, which would be the approval date. For our regular November meeting, which would be November 18th, correct?
Could I do a little spitballing right here?
Do whatever you want.
I would like some assurances from this council. That we would put together a committee across the county to help give us instructions or ideas on how this money should be spent. My concern is not with Hoosier. I think they're a bang up bunch.
With us, I agree.
But the expenditure of the money concerns me, and if I don't use this for leverage right now, I'm done. And I just think that if we could put a provision in there that this council would agree to a group across the county, not elected officials, county people, I could be persuaded to change my mind. But I want input from the county on how this money is to be spent. I think it's a good deal. I do. But I'm concerned on how we spend the money. So
Well, I think maybe this might help you a little bit, Bruce. They're all the county trustees. And they all county trustees have 3 advisory members. That would be a way of getting input. I'm just throwing it out there.
Or we could just send out for people to give us ideas.
Or like.
The county council, we spend money all the time to try to do
Or like you said to me, Bruce,
When do we start?
each of the members of the council.
Go to your
Pick
territory.
two people and say, hey, you're on this advisory committee. Doesn't mean anything, other than they would have all the ideas, they couldn't decide on anything, to be all the ideas.
Or you could meet with the trustees
Yeah,
too.
I
in
think
your
that's a
area.
good idea, do that.
Okay.
So anyways, I don't think we're at that now, because we got lost again.
Are we, so, but we're still at a motion in a second. You're still.
Yeah.
Keeping a motion, still keeping your second. So if I can roster a vote for that, all those in favor, aye? 2 ayes.
I'm a half eye. Quite honestly, I agree with Cassie and Kate. But I think Todd has got the better idea, so
So are you an nay then? Are you a nay?
I'm a nay.
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 I would be the other half of Bruce.
So you're a nay?
Why? I made the motion.
Yeah, okay,
That's 3 against 3.
so that's 4 against 2, okay. Does somebody want to make a new motion?
I will make a new motion. This is gonna be kind of a lengthy motion, okay? No, I don't need your help on this, I got this. I will make the motion that we approve the preliminary resolution for the establishment of an economic revitalization area of North Minnesota.
And there's 4 things, there's 2 EDAs and 2 ERAs.
Yeah, but they're all preliminary.
Right.
Everything's preliminary. These do not say preliminary. This is the only one
Oh,
that's
sorry.
preliminary. This is the
Well,
only-
the thing is, you have to have this to establish this. You have to have an ERA.
Yeah, where's the other
EDA.
one at?
There are 2 preliminary resolutions, one for Starke Central, one for North Bend.
Yes, we also have the EDAs before.
And then the EDAs as well, yeah.
We can't approve the EDAs until we have this meeting, decide. what
And
the
that can be at the next meeting. That doesn't have to be
Where's-
two
where's the
meetings.
other one at?
It's the preliminary, it's the first meeting and confirmatory.
Who puts on the
Yes,
meeting?
okay.
Public input.
The next meeting.
Just hold on to this.
Okay, so
The hearing.
Yes, it's your council meeting that you have a, right, economic revitalization area hearing. Public hearing. Not all dissimilar to what we've had today, actually, but.
We're gonna sign these. Yeah, but yeah, these are, I gave her the EDAs back for the next.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary resolution for the establishment of economic revitalization area for the North Bend Solar and the Starke Central, okay? With that motion being said, the public hearing will be set for November 18th, which is 2 months.
What time?
You wanna make it our normal time, Cassie, because it'll last forever? Can we do three
I
later?
think we need to go later because there are a lot of people
The attorney.
Oh,
prevented
yeah.
from,
And we might need a bigger, we might need a bigger meeting.
but
No.
on an issue like this, I mean,
Change the date.
yeah, we can change the
We
date.
can't change it now, but we need to set the public hearing now.
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Correct?
Let's do it the
Yes, we
19th.
do.
Yeah.
19th is Tuesday.
I wouldn't be able to be here till 6 on Tuesday.
I got a question in the council, but not on this issue.
Well, we got, let me finish.
We'll get that at the end of
Let me
that.
get this motion first. So we're gonna amend the date to November 19th at 6 o'clock, which is a Tuesday. This is not the best for us, but we'll have to make it fly.
You fish Ram can't make it?
You can't make it on Monday.
Oh, on Monday.
Not till 6, I
Yeah, yeah,
It's too late.
Got it.
And the second part of the same motion. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have done, so you gotta listen to me.
Pay attention, guys.
In the second part of that motion is that. Between now and then. We need to contact Baker Tilly or a consultant, whoever we,
Similar.
a similar type consultant. To go over and explain to us the benefits of each one and the downfalls of each one. So we as council can make an intelligent decision for the taxpayers of this county. And I'm gonna make a motion. I don't think it'll be this much, but I wanna make it.
Can you make them separate? Were you getting ready to say how much for?
Yeah, I can.
Can you make this
Yeah.
motion first?
Yeah, I can, okay. All right, so I'll leave that motion as it is.
I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Go ahead.
I think Bruce got it first. Now with the second, though, I'll ask one more time if there's any discussion. All those in favor, aye.
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 I'm not saying I am,
Aye.
which means I'm gonna say nay, so you might as well ask.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know if I heard you.
Okay.
Nay, okay, so 2 nays.
While we're on the record, I will say I like Todd's spirit of compromise. Yeah. But I would prefer it to be tabled.
There were 2 nays and 4 ayes, and so I'm gonna pass you 2 documents. And then I'll do the same thing until we find out from the state if I'm supposed to vote or not, just to clarify that. But I'm gonna, since, I'm just going with what was said last time, just in case. And then after,
Can I make the next one?
and then, yeah,
Okay, I'd like to make a second motion, regarding this whole thing. That. I don't know who's gonna contact.
I want to say it out of seat.
Yeah, definitely. That, I don't know if Michael Lynn would contact him.
We can put it in the notes for Michael Lane to contact.
Put it up that
He's
Michael
on
Lynn
vacation
will.
2 weeks.
We'll have Sarah contact him.
Yeah.
I'll help you. I'll
Well,
help you.
okay, well, if you do it, contact Baker Tilly or somebody else.
Do you know of any other combo?
I don't. I know they do a lot of work. I'm just.
They bought Umbaugh, so
Yeah.
that was Matt's thought.
Or Omaha.
I think they bought Umbaugh, so
Oh, they did? Okay.
that was my only other thought.
So I'll make the motion, then we have the auditor's office, so we go at that. Contact, a consultant that can help us weed through this. And decide which is the best deal and present it to us prior to the hearing. So this should be done like immediately. And I would like to put the price of that not to exceed $20,000. Because $20,000 in my eyes is really a pittance compared to this just so we know peace of mind. I would rather spend $20,000 if it's gonna make us 100,000 or 21,000, it doesn't matter. Just so we know it's the best deal for everybody. And that's my motion.
A motion, is there a second?
Bruce second, or I mean,
Bruce seconded.
Sure, Turner,
Okay,
second.
Bruce,
I second the first one. I'll second.
second, and I just want to make sure, is there any additional discussion on that? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Cassie, I didn't hear you and Kate. Are you?
Probably won't. That's okay. I still like both of them. It's not a popular cocktails.
Are you also a Nathan?
I'm a name.
No, so same vote, 4-2, and I, again.
Like you.
Yeah, it might be, that's why I said, if you need me to sign, I'll sign both. But since the council had exceptions before.
Principles always stand out.
Thank you, Todd. Let us know what's going to be.
Okay, now.
We'd offer to come back on the 21st if you have other questions or any other executive session, as you've mentioned, we'd love to answer and resolve.
Well, you probably would be an executive
The
session.
consultant, well, it doesn't have to be executive though, but if the consultant comes back to us quickly, maybe there's some questions from them. So. Why don't you contact us and let us?
We will.
Because if we, right,
Is it okay if we reach out to Justin? Is that the best point of contact? Or is it someone else?
Executive session around for employees, I don't know, public has.
Thank you.
I need to find out, I think it has to be public. Kind of.
I think according to the statute, we need an executive session.
I'll try for that, so, okay. We'll see.
Let us know and we'll be here. Because we just want to resolve it and get a deal that's fair for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you guys for moving this along. Thank you for continuing.
So. Not gonna go individually around again, so I do know, sir, that you specifically said you had something, and we'll take hand raises too. But if I could just go with him, he's been waiting patiently.
I just have some questions about who controls the money that goes in and out of Coons Lake to the KL,
That's the,
ED.
the Coons Lake organization.
Conservancy.
Kilo.
They have, they have their own board.
And then the conservative.
They both have their own boards.
It's like association, it's like non-profit.
Yeah, they're a private
Organized
organization.
by the commission, right?
No,
I think these two are.
Who are they appointed?
Coons Lake Association is a private organization that's.
They have control over Coons Lake.
Yeah, well, no, the Conservancy District is the one that takes care of all the sewers.
Water.
They're appointed by the.
I'm talking about, I'm talking specifically about public easements.
Commissioners, yeah.
Commissioners.
Yeah.
That's gonna be.
Commission.
Yeah, that's
That's real clear, I just, nobody can hear you, we can't.
that's nothing to do with us, that's totally out of our wheelhouse.
So even the money from the property sales,
Well, that's a private transaction.
well, the county had to state, they.
Are you talking about in a tax sale? Are you talking about something we've sold in a tax sale? I'm just, I don't know what you're asking.
No. I would, I mean, I don't wanna take up you guys' time.
That's okay.
I grew up.
But somebody sold a piece of property, I don't know what you're asking us though.
Well, what happened?
There's public easements
Okay.
all around that lake. I have this map.
Up on the deed.
Yeah.
You're talking about.
They don't own deed. They do not have plot numbers where they did.
Okay,
Slowly over the last 20 years, they have been slowly disappearing. Because people from Illinois come in and buy shoreline. They see that easement next to them.
and they.
Someone
They can do that, the commissioners.
someone who controls both the association and a realty company sells them that land. They have to have permission from the county commissioners.
If it's county property,
Some of that property is.
But it's been annexed
because it was state land. I have the map.
Yeah.
Some map is 30 years old.
Deeded
And
easement
I've
for
been
like
told-
properties. That's
Me
what
and my brother have been told that this map is it's not correct. It's a state DNR map.
I think maybe I would start with a motion on that.
The citizens, the citizens of Kings Way in the surrounding areas. They're fishing right.
I don't blame you for that. It's just, I don't know that we can help you with that. I
It's
think-
hundreds of feet
Yeah.
of fishing rights that belong to the state, public access. The donated public bathing beach was originally supposed to be 350 foot long. You know how long it is now? Less than 4.
We've heard that the piers moved over, so I think the park board's
I
looking
was
into that.
hiking a few weeks ago and that I hear.
So we as the county government are looking into it.
I'd like to be put on the agenda next month. I'll bring you the map.
We'll ask the deputy auditor. So just, I think Justin had something, sorry, and then we'll come back over here. Sorry.
So I'm in debating quite a bit on what to do. So basically, I have big shoulders and I can handle.
Just 1 second, everybody, if we can hear Justin's.
And then Dave, we have some.
So basically, I have big shoulders and I can handle, the foul treatment that, gets thrown at me. But we've been hearing discussions over and over again about county council policies, county council code of conducts. So I'm gonna pass this around and you already know, this was sent to me, county council member, and I would like to know, so for me, like I said, I'm a big guy, I can handle it, but I would not wish this kind of treatment towards any other citizen in the county. And if somebody is willing to message me with this, I can only imagine what they would do with somebody that isn't so brave to stand up for themselves, isn't so willing to stand up for themselves. Knowing I'm not such a pushover to, contact me in that kind of manner. I only ask, what kind of manner are they speaking to others in? I think, like I said, we've been discussing county code of conducts and county policies and this and that. And we talk about it all the time, but they see the same council members that talk about and brag up the code of conduct and say that we police ourselves still break their own code of conduct. We've been told over and over again that as county representatives, we're always you guys are to hold yourselves up in a higher manner. This is the complete opposite of that, in my opinion. Really not. I'm not really asking for anything here. I believe that it needs to be.
We started.
I believe that it needs to be brought to the county council.
Justin, I wrote this preliminary document that I wrote. It does talk about that in there.
I think
That's why we need, that's why I'm saying we need to define better.
No, absolutely. That's why I'm not an author. I can barely write my name.
Well, I know
I
that.
think that, I this might,
Pass it on hours.
after they look at it, I think you need to go to read it while we're sitting. I was skewered for making a comment on a business and I didn't tell someone they don't have any balls like we see in that message. What is that?
So like, my thing is like, part of me didn't even want to bring it up to the council because I've already turned in one complaint about a county council member and have not heard a single thing about that complaint. There's been no executive sessions held.
Was that to the commissioners that you made that?
No, it
Was that
was,
the one that we emailed?
yeah.
I apologize for that.
It's okay. I mean, I believe that it was turned over to, the attorney, but, the fact that I've already made one complaint and it hasn't been addressed kind of made me feel like, that whole comment of
Who wrote that?
It was me. Yeah.
Just that.
And I didn't want to.
The other one that you complained about.
Wasn't something that was made to me. It was an action that was taken outside of the commissioner's meeting 2 weeks ago, I believe, where commissioner was publicly confronted and, screamed down at, out in public. And then that incident that morning then boiled into the county council meeting that evening.
Where physical threat was
We
made
were all,
against
we were all,
Mr.
this was the,
Oh.
so, my first complaint was after a commissioners meeting one morning, a county council member took it upon himself to confront a commissioner right outside the annex building here in public. And I mean, it was
The same commissioner that was saying.
it was an aggressive, it was an aggressive
Sure was.
it was an aggressive confrontation. So I made a complaint about that, but then later on that evening, that same council member came in here and spent, I don't know how long, throwing that commissioner underneath the bus, at a county council meeting. Where I don't believe that it really had a place for it.
I want transparency.
So I made that complaint, but,
First one.
when I told that we police ourselves.
We couldn't hear Justin because of the.
That we police ourselves, and I've said over and over again, that term never, ever turns out well. And so I'm supposed to bring this up, to. I'm supposed to bring my complaint to the person that I'm complaining about. It's kind of a hard thing to do. I didn't know if you had a chance to read it.
Did you see it?
Oh, I'm fine.
Okay, well, like I said, I don't even know what I'm asking for. I felt like it needs to be addressed so that it doesn't happen to any other citizens.
It's interesting, when Tony and I went to a association of county councils, one of the things that they spoke to us about was decorum.
It's not just decorum here, it's decorum.
Well, it's everywhere, but you know what, at some point in time, and I'm guilty of it too. We just gotta try to work together for the betterment of the
Right,
kids.
I mean, if you read the message, you'll understand more of what I'm speaking of.
And I appreciate
It's,
that. I think we need to let it go.
this is something that just reached out. I did not contact the person at all. He reached out to me completely out of the blue. And started calling me a coward. Started telling me I had no balls, telling me I do things the bitch way.
Told him to shut up and sit down.
They telling me I go about things the bitch way, basically, calling me a bitch. Telling me I got punked out by a commissioner because I got kicked out of a Republican Party meeting. But yet he wants to continue to go on talking about how I got punked out.
He threatened me with bodily injuries, so I'm ready to just let it go.
But the thing is, if we just let it go, how many other citizens are gonna have to deal with this kind of treatment from elected representatives?
I can't answer that. We're gonna review your document.
And like I said, I'm not asking for any, I just wanted to bring it to you guys.
I actually wrote this, Justin, before I even. This was something we should do all the time. It's called being proactive, not reactive. This document is proactive.
Yeah.
Then there's the matter of it being personal, apology, or whatever, whatever.
I don't even want apologies. I just want to be sure that this isn't gonna happen to anybody else, that nobody else is gonna get bullied or intimidated. Knowing that I'm not gonna get bullied and intimidated, like, if you're still gonna contact me and talk to me that way, but only makes me ask, are you communicating with those that aren't so willing to stand up for themselves? That's the only reason I brought it here. Was I do feel like it is something that does need to be addressed, and it does sound like it can be addressed with trying to do it. Yeah, and I understand that, and I just appreciate you all, and I'll leave it at that.
There was one hand over here one more time, though, if you guys, somebody had a hand up over.
Yeah, I wanted to say something sooner, but I'm wondering if you're going to a law firm, and this is a decided point now, you've already voted, but wondering if you can even get that done within 2 months when you're going to law firm, telling them to now study all this material. And they're gonna actually have it ready. And
They're actually pretty
That's what they specialize in though, is municipal, municipal issues. That's their forte. Yeah, and they've done it before too.
In 2 months' time. I'll answer you.
I think the last time I got way faster than that. It's probably a couple of weeks, I think.
Well, then-
And if we don't get it by then, I guess we'll start over. But I don't see any reason why we can't get it by then. I mean, I'll push it. Push it.
Sorry, sorry, Sarah had something too before we quit, sorry.
Part-time, 3% raise.
So, that was the thing in the budget. I didn't want to make this call on my own. Sarah asked me. When we put in the 3% raise for the proposed budget. I believe we said we would include part-time with that, but I didn't want to make, I
mean, I don't know why.
we make the decision now.
I'm not opposed to that.
So what, I'm sorry.
The 3% raise would carry into part-time also, and not just the full-time. I couldn't remember, so I told Sarah we would ask it tonight.
I don't know why it wouldn't, but. if we need to
I
make
thought we
a
said
motion-
yes. Can somebody make a motion just so we have it on the record? Have a motion
I'll
from Bruce
second it.
and a second from Cassie. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye. Is there any opposed?
Send this.
Okay, go ahead. I think you had something.
I don't have anything. I want a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?